shall we introduce our characters? Let's introduce our players as well. Let's do it properly, shall we? So, going left to right on the actual broadcast screen, first of all, we have got Dratacup, who, if you've watched this channel before, you will obviously know from her running of things like Castle Falkenstein and The Witcher. Dratacup, who are you playing?
I am playing Tamris, who is a 27-year-old professional thief with a speciality in avoidance and, I have to say, probably creation of traps. She has a long and honourable tradition of not dying when things go twang, or click, or whoops.
Okey-dokey. And taking a quick look at Tamris's character sheet to cover a little bit of the game system. She's got a skill of 7. Now, skill is used for almost everything in this game. You don't have multiple attributes the way you do in other games. You are just, your stamina is how tough you are, your luck is how lucky you are, and skill is everything else. So whenever you do anything at all, you're rolling against skill, essentially, for this. So she's got a base of 7, which should be rolling a couple of d6s against. She then has a list of special skills, which add to her skill for purposes of those specific rolls. So if she's trying to notice something with the awareness skill, that brings her effective skill up to 10. These are not first-level characters. You don't get first-level characters in Fighting Fantasy. You're always a hero, and that's why you're there, because you've already done the working your way up from the ground, and you're the guy they've come running to when the excrement has interacted with the ventilation system.
I would like to direct your Honour's attention to the 11 luck, which is tested on 2d6.
Yes. However, an important thing to note is that every time you test your luck in one of these games, your luck score drops by 1. It can be restored by various things up to a maximum of its initial value, but every time she pushes her luck, it gets 1 point lower and is 1 point harder to use.
Which is why the potion I start with, when you get to pick whether it's a skill, stamina, luck, or magic, you get to, I've taken luck.
As have I, because that is the sensible option.
It is.
Certainly in the game books, there were situations where it was test your luck or die, basically. And if you'd already been burning a lot of luck, because you can burn luck in combat, essentially, to sort of get a reroll or extra damage, something like that. I can't remember. I'm only running this game. I'm not expected to know the rules.
The navigation units will accept your spoken commands.
Thank you for that, host Nightmare.
Please state speed and course.
And if you've run out of luck and you hit one of those situations, then trouble will ensue, most definitely. So that's Tamris, and with us we have also got Chrono Magistrate, who, again, you will recognise from Castle Falkenstein, because you're obviously, are you not, a loyal viewer who will watch all of our output and have seen that. So, Chrono, what are you playing?
Good evening, folks. And yes, in a astonishing variance from Castle Falkenstein, I am playing a non-human. I am playing Marlon, an elf. Although a non-traditional elf, in the sense that he left the forest and his homeland as soon as he could possibly do so. He has no real interest in his elven heritage and has decided to become a Cellblader. He sells his skills across the flatlands and ended up in Port Blacksand, as most adventurers do. He wields an axe rather than a bow or a sword.
Excellent.
But
Definitely
he is
non-standard
adept.
for an elf.
Exactly. He hates trees.
Oh, I like this guy.
Yes, dark-haired, blue-eyed. He is very much a massive contradiction. So, but yes, skilled in multiple weapons. He is very much blade for hire.
If you were going to describe Tamris, by the way, brown, sort of covered it. She's slightly tanned, and she's got slightly dark brown hair, but it's not particularly dark brown dark. It's if you were giving a description of her to, say, a watchman, there might be some issues because she just looks normal.
Normal, yeah.
So Shakespearean done would be.
Yes.
So before we actually play anything, I do want to double check. When I put Merlin into the into Fantasy Grounds, I gave you a hand axe, which is the one-handed axe. You can swap that for a two-handed battle axe if you wish, Chrono.
Is there anything? Is there any difference other than flavour?
I think the battle axe does more damage, but
I believe so.
Check. That's not where I want to be. I wanted to be. Where did I want to be? I want to be there.
Thanks. Thank you for telling me it's two-handed, because I never would have guessed.
Yes, and this being a fan-made rule set for Fantasy Grounds, the library isn't particularly good, and you have to search to find anything. But yeah, oh yes, much better damage, but also obviously uses whatever rules two-handed weapons may use for.
Oh, would I have to have the ambidextrous talent instead for that?
I don't think
no,
so.
ambidextrous will be if you were using one in each.
Right, okay. So this would just be I can't use a shield, I'm guessing.
I think that's largely just that you can't use a shield, yes.
Cool. Yeah, I'll
and
take
obviously
the
you also
two-hand-
can't use a battle axe while dangling from a rope halfway up a ladder or various other situations.
Why are we going to be dangling from a rope halfway up a ladder?
Sure, I have a sword if I need to do that.
Where else would you tie your rope than halfway up a ladder? So if your rope isn't long enough...
Or I will find a sword if I need to do that. Yes, could you swap it to a two-handed battle axe, please?
Okie dokie, so we'll put the battle axe in there and remove the hand axe.
Yep, let's go as non-elven as you can.
Tick the battle axe to indicate that that's what you're using. Okie dokie. I like the dragon
damage
drop
does the
in
sword do?
Fantasy Grounds. It's terribly useful.
Your
sword, if you look on your inventory page, it will show you your sword, and it's on a d6 roll. You're basically doing 3 points unless you roll a 1 or a 6, whereas the battle axe is doing 4 points on a 5 or a 6, which is slightly better than the sword, and never drops as far as 2. The hand axe actually was considerably lower, so battle axe is a much better weapon.
I don't want to worry you, Fish, but when we're rolling our damage, it's coming up.
Right, that is not a roll for damage. That is a roll
Oh, is that
for hit.
skill and damage?
This is one of those things I'm going to explain to you, because we worked this out actually last time when we were looking at this and creating Tamras in the first place, but fortunately I remembered it. The skill value next to the battle axe is rolling, or next to the sword in fact, should be rolling and adding the appropriate skill, and then the third die that it rolls, which is highlighted in red and doesn't add into the total, is your damage die. So the way combat works in these games, as anyone who's played them will know, is you roll your dice against your opponent's dice, and whoever gets the higher value gets to do damage. And this is kind of a back and forth. It's not a roll, swing and miss thing like D&D, where I miss you, then you miss me, then I miss you, then you miss me. In every round of combat, somebody's going to take damage in a game like this.
No elaborate dancing here.
No elaborate dancing at all, no. Just brutal reality of people shoving pointy things into each other.
Yeah.
Gasp.
Yes.
So, yeah, that third die that it rolls when you do that is your damage die to save you having to roll again afterwards if you hit. That's actually as suggested in the rulebook. It suggests that you pick a third die of a different colour and roll it at the same time, because that way you've already got your damage rolled up if you do it.
Super efficient.
I do something similar in D&D, in fact.
Same. It's just easier.
I have these wonderful devices that you won't be able to see on this camera, but each of those is a transparent D20 with one of the other die types inside, although one of them has a D20 inside as well. So that means that I can just roll that, and it's got my damage die on the inside if it hits. Really, really useful thing.
I love
Also,
those. The double dice are
the
great.
double 20, of course, is very useful if you're rolling advantage or disadvantage as well. So these are a great dice. I love them. So, I think we've probably covered everything that we need to cover, except for possibly the start of the scenario and where we are. So let's make sure that I've got this map shared and the view synced. As you can see, this is the area of Alancia around the aforementioned flatlands and Port Blacksand, very conveniently. This is because we are starting quite near the town of Chalice. So Chalice is just south of the Moonstone Hills. On my screen I've got a little push pin for it, but unfortunately the rest of you don't, because it only shows them to the GM. But I can click on that and I can share some information about Chalice with you.
Okay.
Just showing off what Fantasy Grounds does. I love the way that these push pins work. Basically things like maps, story elements, NPCs, what have you, can just be dragged onto an image such as a map, and it creates a little push pin that when you click on it brings up the original entry. So when you're running a dungeon scenario, for example, you can put the dungeon map in and just put all of the encounters onto the map as push pins, and you just click on them as the PCs reach that room, and up comes all the information that you need. Really, really good if you take the time to actually set it up, or if you're buying a pre-generated scenario like the ones they are now releasing for AD&D 2nd edition, like Temple of Elemental Evil, which I will be buying as soon as possible. Because I love the Temple of Elemental Evil.
Yeah, you can do the bloody moat house again.
Absolute classic.
Yes.
That was the first Advanced Dungeons & Dragons game I ever played, was Temple of Elemental Evil. I came in when they were on about level 3 with the first level character, because I was a brand new player, and I leveled up twice in the first session. Because I was just following these tough guys around, throwing Molotov cocktails at elementals.
I think mine was the group I joined had done that one as their first, and then I joined when the GM was basically doing a variant of the one where the asteroid is heading towards Faerun.
Oh.
So yeah, Umberholtz and Illithids, oh my.
Yeah, I was about to say,
Always good. Always good. So, the map here is not the greatest quality, unfortunately. I couldn't find a higher resolution version of the map. I may need to try and I think I took this one out of the Titan sourcebook. I may need to try and either find a better quality map or redraw it, because if I zoom right out, you can see it's a lovely map of Alancia, but it loses a lot of detail when you actually go in and try and look at specific areas. So what these blobs that you may not be able to identify here are forests, because the Catfish River runs from the Red River. It runs south and then west towards the coast, while the Red River continues just west towards the coast all by itself. These are locations, by the way, that are as old as Fighting Fantasy, because just at the end of the Red River in the Moonstone Hills is Firetop Mountain, home of the warlock for whom was named the very first Fighting Fantasy game book. You will not be going there. I won't be going there today anyway. I actually do have the Warlock of Firetop Mountain Advanced Fighting Fantasy version redesigned to be run as a scenario for a full group. So I'd love to play that. Or run that. That would be very, very cool. And you're in the right area, so I can send you there at a later date if I want to. But for today, we're being rather more simple. You are in this forest. The adventure opens on a lonely forest road, and I remember that I set up a sound set for this, and it would be good if I actually started it playing. As the imaginary camera tracks forward, we see a line of mounted soldiers. Their uniforms are splendid, but as we move around to see their faces, It is obvious that they are none too happy with their surroundings. Although picked veterans, they all have a nervous, worried expression. Many of them ride with their hands resting upon the pommel of their sword. I would have said swords there. They probably have more than one between them. Our camera now pans along the line of troops towards the head of the column, observing the faces as it goes. At the front we see several unusual individuals. Obviously they are not soldiers, yet some of them look as if they could take on the entire column by themselves. These are our heroes. It's only actually two of them, but...
Yeah.
And as they ride along, they are deep in conversation with a richly dressed young man and the commander of the soldiers. Finally, the camera moves forward to view the overgrown path ahead of the community. Then it rises into the branches of the forest and beyond. We see a lone, rocky crag towering above the trees. At the top of it is a grim, evil-looking castle. Cue dramatic sound effects and swirling epic music on the imaginary soundtrack. I didn't set up the swirling epic music. I made to do with the tension music instead. I thought that would be better. In the year 285 after Chaos, King Pindar of Chalice, knowing that his aged body would not see many more summers and fearful of the advance of evil, capital E, sought to provide for the safety of his people after his demise. Mindful that a small city-state like Chalice could not stand alone for long, he sought an alliance with mighty Salamonis. It so happened that King Salamon had a daughter of similar age to Pindar's son, and so a marriage was arranged. But before Baranyar and the lovely Sorcerer could be wed, the princess was kidnapped. Even as she rode to meet her intended husband, a motorcyclist came out of... No, hang on, that isn't what happened.
Timing. Perfect.
Even as she rode to meet her intended husband, by Zortan Throg, an evil-hearted sorcerer who dwelt deep in the forests north of the Catfish River. King Pindar hastily summoned his councillors. Chalice was in dire danger, for surely Salamonis would be angry at the poor care taken of its princess, and how could such a small city hope to provide enough warriors to overcome a mighty wizard? Why, his rocky castle looked as if it could withstand the onslaught of every army in Alancia. In desperation, it was suggested that the king hire a pair of expert adventurers, the sort of people to whom no odds are too high, and wizard killing is all in a day's work.
You know what they say, fair day's work for a fair day's pay.
You are riding at the head of this column, alongside Prince Baranyar and his captain, Morvel. To some extent, my friends, I blame myself. Had I come to meet her as I wished, I might have been able to do something to save her, but father persuaded me that the proper thing to do was for us to meet at the city gates, due pomp and ceremony and all that. A nice spectacle for the people, gives them an excuse to stop work for a bit of celebration. Still, if these brave men could not save her, what could I have done? Morvel bows his head as he responds. Very little, I suspect, sire. I stayed as close to the princess as possible. We were on the main forest road, of course, the one that runs east of here, as it's much wider and easier to spot an ambush. We saw the goblins coming a mile off, and I have my men in position in good time. It's almost a routine manoeuvre. They rush out, we ride them down. Beats me why they keep trying. Anyway, all was going well when suddenly there was a great scream above me. I looked up and saw a huge griffin diving straight for the princess. Fortunately, I still had my spear to hand, but not having time to charge, I had no speed behind it, and my thrust was deflected by the thick feathers on the belly of the monster. The beast took the princess's horse in the neck, killing it instantly, and as it did so, the sorcerer, for he was riding upon its back, reached down and pulled the girl away. I thrust again and took a fair bunch of feathers from its tail, yelling all the while to my men to get bows, but the wizard had planned his attack well. By the time we'd disengaged from the goblins and readied our bows, the griffin was away over the trees and out of sight. He's a cunning opponent, all right. We'll have our work cut out to get her back. Cunning he may be, Morvel, but we have the gods on our side. I wouldn't fancy the chances of anyone assaulting that castle, even if he had a legion of dragons at his back. But our priests tell us there is a secret entrance to the castle, hidden in the trees at the base of the crag. If this divination proves correct, and who am I to doubt the word of the gods, then while I distract the wizard with talk of ransom, our friends here can sneak in and catch him unawares. 'Tis a good enough plan, sire, and as you say, one with divine blessing. One thing still puzzles me, though, and that is why he did it. Now, granted that most wizards are a pretty bad lot, comes from all that cavorting with demons and the like, I shouldn't wonder, though this fellow has some pretty disreputable servants, he's never given us any trouble before. 20 years he's lived there in that keep, and the worst complaint we've heard of him is that his goblins steal the odd sheep from the villages on the edge of the forest. Why, some folk even said the king should make him an advisor. What can we have done to offend him? Naught that I know of, faithful Morville, but men's minds are sometimes turned by other things than offence. After all, if what you tell me of this young princess is true, then any man might take risks for her, especially if he were a lonely old man with none but goblins and trolls for company.
Fantastic. Oh boy. Dear. Listening to your that little exchange though, Fishy, I have now nailed down Tamris's character with a misquote
Excellent.
from Sinbad movies. The old Harryhausen Sinbad movies, which is trust in Allah but tie up your camel.
Yeah.
I think it's have faith in the gods but tether your donkey.
That works.
Works for me.
Especially when Tamris is around.
Yes. Nail down the donkey.
Put the donkey on a long rope.
Yes. Yep.
So, do you have plans? Have you fought wizards before? My father said that your recommendations were excellent, but have you faced a situation like this?
What did you put on the Suvu?
I have faced magic users before, albeit often as part of a larger cohort. However, I doubt... he actually looks up at the castle. Hopefully, your diviners were accurate, and this shouldn't be too much of a problem if you are providing a suitable distraction. He pulls his cloak firmer around him and glares warily at the upper branches. Hand resting on his battle axe.
Yeah. I think my standard position's probably about 3 feet behind you.
That griffin were bad enough. Facing a sorcerer as well. I'm glad it's you going in, not me.
Well, often they are not. Their spellcasting is not as fast as our blades.
So, just for clarification,
Yes.
what is specifically the priority here? Is it to get your girl?
Well, yes. We must
Right.
recover Princess Sarissa.
Right. So, if we get the girl, but we don't necessarily kill the sorcerer, is that still a win?
Absolutely, yes. Your task is to return the princess. Not only is she my intended bride, but also her father is a powerful lord himself, and Salamonis would make a bad enemy. So the priority is absolutely to return Sarissa unharmed.
Right.
I'm guessing that her father does not know of this state at present.
Well, I doubt it's going to take him very long to find out, but let's just say we haven't actually sent him a messenger.
Well, you don't want to worry him, do you?
No, we thought we'd see whether we could get her back first and tell him after the fact. Seemed to make more sense.
Yeah. Of course.
I can't blame you.
Ah,
Crazy.
this must be the gnarled oak that our priest spoke of. Ah, yes, there appears to be a path through the trees here. Morval, you accompany our friends into the forest. When you report back they've found the entrance, I will make myself known to the wizard and ask to speak with him.
Oh my god, am I the one with forest law?
I have it at
Technically,
+1.
you both
Oh, yes,
have
so do I.
forest law.
I get it for free. I wouldn't have spent points on it.
I actually blew a point on it. I think it's which trees are best to hide behind, or in, or up.
Like, I still have, sword +1, climb +1, and forest law
Yeah.
+1. I can't get away from my heritage that much.
Yeah. Running, jumping, climbing trees.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Right.
So yes, there is indeed a quite distinctive oak, which clearly was described by the priests here. And behind it, slightly concealed by the undergrowth, is a quite clear, marked path leading deeper into the forest.
Do you think this guy's an idiot? Just out of curiosity. And this is said sotto voce to Malin. Because frankly, you may as well have a big sign up saying secret entrance here. Adventurers welcome.
It is not the most
Yeah.
well.
No,
yeah.
you see, I was anticipating, burrow through brambles and maybe a bit of spelunking to get under something or into something. I wasn't expecting it to be paved.
Well,
Effectively.
It's not paved, but it is.
No.
It's clearly a properly cut path. You can see, even from here, you can see that some of the larger branches have actually been sawed out of the way.
Oh, for God's sake.
It depends on whether this
passages
path is the actual path to the bottom of the crag, or whether we have to divert from it. Maybe it just goes around the base, and
Could be. Alright. This all looks safe to me.
nothing
Well,
seems
if you say so.
untoward.
Sorry, Fish, I didn't catch that.
It was Morval saying, "Well, if you say so."
Okay, he's got wind chimes attached to his armour, has he?
Apparently.
Apparently he has. Yeah.
It's the whole ceremonial thing. They were there greeting the princess and to give her the nice ambience as she came in on her litter.
He's still wearing his terribly impressive jingly armour, produced for him by the great armour smith Jar. It also gives off little beams of light here and there when caught by the sun.
They're all adorned in coin mail.
Yes. Brilliant. Right. Alright then. I suppose horses are out. Sorry, for some reason she's estuary.
We'll
I
have to
don't know
leave
quite
the
why.
horses behind.
She wasn't
but,
until I started talking about it in her voice, and somehow she's estuary.
Whereas Marlon, it's pretty clear that he's actually trying to deepen his voice.
Yeah. Yes, I'm going for the butcher ward.
Mhm.
I'm well up me, ignore the ears.
Are you staring at my ears?
It's like, how many bar fights has Marlon got into because somebody called him a pointy-eared tree hugger?
Oh, yeah.
I think that's the point at which, I duck over the bar and start taking bets.
Are you looking at my ears or chewing a brick?
Right. Okay, I
so-
shall dismount and I will take point on this path because this is kind of my thing. Traps, awareness, and much unpleasantness.
Dismount. I will try and hook the reins up to a branch on the tree,
Okay.
and then unsling my axe and just hold it loosely at my side.
Yeah, Tamras will draw her sword. She doesn't muck about with daggers. If you're going to hit something, hit it hard enough it falls over.
Absolutely.
A lady after my own motto.
And then back up so you can finish hitting it.
Unfortunately, this particular rule set for Fantasy Grounds doesn't have a party sheet, which is a shame, because I could have shown how that works. The party sheet in Fantasy Grounds actually has a party order thing, so you can arrange the characters' tokens in the appropriate order. At the moment, you have no portraits in your tokens, so it would be difficult to tell which was which anyway, but nevertheless, we could have set up a party order had this particular rule set included that feature. Nevertheless, who is going first? Okay.
I'm content to stay a couple of feet back from Tamris if she is in search mode.
Probably safe.
Okay.
Probably safest. 'Cause,
Sweeper.
yeah. Well, if there's something triggers and swings across the path or something, I'm going to be leaping back. And frankly, if I leap back and I'm falling over you, that's probably not going to be any better than if I get
Bounce
smacked
off
in the
somebody
face with a
behind
log.
you straight into the trap.
Yeah.
The path winds between the trees and bushes for a short distance, moving not in a particularly straight line towards the crag on which the castle of Zoltan, whatever his name was, Throg, was he?
Throg, yeah.
Stands. Eventually, it arcs around a rocky outcropping, and up ahead you can see a cave entrance looming dark in the shadows of the forest.
Does the path continue onwards?
The path appears to go straight into the cave, although it's less obvious at this point because the ground becomes rockier.
But cave.
You were right, Tamaris.
Alright, I'm expecting traffic then, because I'm guessing that what this is not so much your secret entrance per se. I think this is more your servant's entrance. I think this is where the trade comes in and out. So,
It's large enough for a cohort of goblins.
Great. So, I think that's less likely to be physical traps, more likely to be, goblins going out on patrol and come back and shopping and stuff like that.
Goblin personal shoppers, I love that idea.
Well,
don't knock it.
It won't. Hopefully, anyone we do encounter won't take too long to be divested of whatever it is that they are carrying.
Right. Okay then. Right. Let's. You, Captain Shiny Armour. You probably want to head back and say we found the entrance.
Go back and inform His Highness that you have started your incursion. Except I'll do it in this voice because that's how I talk. And I forgot temporarily there for the moment.
Can he fire 4 rounds a minute in any weather?
Oh, he absolutely nobody's men can. They can fire 4 hours a minute in any weather. Yeah, unfortunately, 4 hours a minute isn't very much, really.
No, I can fire 4 hours a minute.
All right. Well, it is only a small town.
Yeah, fair enough.
Rescue the princess is a go.
Yes.
Okay.
Where she comes charging out the other direction because she's a self-rescuing princess.
Indeed.
In which case we have a whole other problem. Right, okay. Right, Tamaris is going to lead the way cautiously.
Are you using light sources or are you relying on...
You see, I think I'm going to have to because I don't have dark sight.
No, you don't.
So unfortunately I am going to rather bugger up your night vision.
Is this is dark seeing as per dark vision or?
Yeah, dark seeing is black and white.
Black and white up to a range of about 60.
20 meters, since this is a European game, but yeah,
sure.
That's about 60.
Yeah, roughly. Okay.
Yeah.
Are we talking no 5-foot steps?
No 5 foot. It's not as complicated as 5 foot.
Yeah,
steps,
exactly.
This game.
Yeah.
No.
As you go, keep remembering this game is simple.
Yes.
Yes, particularly this scenario.
Sure. Okay, so 20 meters, black and white vision. Cool.
Okay. So you can advance slowly and carefully, presumably, into the cave.
I am indeed.
Have you brought a torch, or are you going to use the...
I
will allow you to add a torch to your character sheet if you want a torch rather than a lantern.
Can I have a torch as well as a lantern? Because I'm going to be using the lantern, but I'd like a torch for future reference.
You knew you were coming to this... you knew you were coming in through a cave.
Yeah.
Because that's what the priests told you.
Yes.
So
I can't edit my character sheet, however, so
if you could, that would be nice. Define can't edit your character sheet.
I can't add anything to my equipment list.
Okay, that's interesting.
I'm assuming, however, Mr. GM, sir, you can.
Yes, I don't know why you can't edit it, and I think I may need to adjust this, because I didn't make this sound set. I just started the Dungeon Depths sound set, and I think the distant screams might not be entirely suitable.
Dra, if you right-click,
No,
you get a create item.
Yes.
You get a wheel with create item at the bottom.
Hang on. Yes, I didn't. Oh, yeah, I didn't, and now I do.
Right.
I don't think I clicked in exactly the right point. That's all right. Ignore me, Fish.
Yeah. That's okay. I was wondering
whether
there is a torch in the equipment list. You can't actually get an equipment list as such. But you can search for items, because there is an equipment list here. It just doesn't feature in the library. It doesn't have any contents for it. So
yeah.
You've literally got to search for an item and see if it's there. And a torch is not. So there we go. You've done it yourself. You've got a torch now.
But it's a flashlight.
Ow.
No.
Oh, for our transatlantic brethren. No. No, I want a torch because I want a torch in the flaming torch to stick up something's nose. Potentially.
Right.
Singe the nose hairs of that giant that is obviously...
Yep. If nothing else, it will recoil going, ew. Yeah. But for a land
gold dragons in a 10 by 10 room, isn't it?
Yeah.
And we're back on paranoia. So I'm going to use the lantern, however, for consistent light for exploratory purposes. Because when you're looking for traps and such, the last thing you need is flickering dancing shadows.
Fair enough.
Because
flickering dancing shadows is a spell by Nahal, but I'm not sure.
Yeah.
Yeah. So yes, I am progressing carefully and looking at both walls for, concealed holes that might spit darts or flip up spikes, and also at the floor because I want to see what kind of traffic we've been looking at here.
Okay.
I will back up her scouting by being consistently wary as well.
I'm going to say, let me see, what am I going to say?
I'm also going to cast the occasional glance back over our shoulders in case something comes out of the undergrowth around us and behind us.
Yeah, if this is a common path, something might be coming home.
Let me just check.
Good call.
Which skill I should really be using here.
I've got underground law.
That's what I'm wondering about, is whether it should be awareness to spot a thing or underground law to examine. So, skill descriptions.
I'm going with awareness all times because that's +3 as opposed to +1.
Awesome at it, yes.
The bonus of being human, you could actually get to +3.
Yeah.
I'm not sure a +3 in forest law would have done me any good.
Awareness is exactly what it sounds like. And underground law enables you to understand and survive in underground environments, including caves, dungeons, and caverns. So yes, I'm going to say that underground law, forest law, etc. are the appropriate things to roll on when looking for tracks in those areas. So it'll be awareness to spot things trying to jump out at you or other traps, and underground law because you want to see who uses this. So make me an underground law first.
Okay. Underground.
Okay, that is a successful underground law test. Right. So, examining the telltale traces in this cave is not easy because you're tracking on stone here rather than out in the nice, almost made for recording tracks forest that you've just come from, where you didn't look to see who used the path. However, there are some indications here that this does indeed look like it's probably seen quite a bit of passage from goblins, yes.
Oh, good. beware the beat of the goblin feet. They're in and out of here.
I'm guessing this is where they started their ambush from.
Makes sense. I mean, if you don't have to climb down the mountain.
I just wonder how many of them that our erstwhile colleagues actually managed to scatter.
Yeah. And the ones who scattered as opposed to the ones who just made it straight back. I wonder how many are coming home later. Oh, yeah. Good. This is going to be safe. Happy with this. How much are we getting paid again?
I mentioned actually of how much you're getting paid. It's one of those type of games.
We have to imagine that it was enough for us to say yes.
A reasonable amount, certainly, yes.
Yes. It was a valid amount for the task in hand.
Correct.
I apologise for the accent, by the way, but I'm basically channeling my next door neighbours right now.
A little bit.
Yeah.
Well,
It's a good old Thanet accent.
Despite the definite goblin traces here, this path does not lead down to Goblin Town. Instead, at the back of the cave, it narrows into a slightly steeply climbing cleft leading up into the rock, which makes sense if this is an entrance to the tower above.
Well, I had to go up at some point.
At places, you are having to squeeze slightly to get through gaps. At other places, you're actually having to very lightly climb over areas that aren't as smooth as you might like. But the passage does continue on, heading in the direction that you want it to go.
What's your reckoning that this wizard fellow has had the decency to put his dungeons at the base?
Well, that would be polite, wouldn't it? No, he strikes me as one of those inverted types.
The kind who wants to keep his prisoners close to him.
Yeah. Maybe
So
just
he
likes
can
showing. Yeah, if he's got a griffin, he's going to want a landing pad for the griffin. So that's presumably going to be up there. And if I had a griffin, I would be using a griffin to scare the crap out of any prisoners I happen to have. So I reckon that, cells around where you park the griffin is probably your best bet.
That's what I was afraid of. So, a long slog up then.
Yeah.
Yes, and it is a fairly long slog. Throg does not appear to have built far down into the crag if he has underground constructions. So it takes you quite a while climbing up until eventually you make me an awareness check. Presuming Tamris is still at the front?
Yeah.
Do you want one from each of us, or?
Let's see whether Tamris sees it first.
Tamris sees most things, I have to say.
Yep, okay. As you clamber over a rock, and just before you reach back to point out the footholds to Malin, you notice
climbing skill.
that the light of your torch, of your lantern, at its very edge, shines upon an opening where the path, the little natural tunnel, opens out into a larger cavern just up ahead.
Right. I am half closing my lantern to just leave enough light coming up so that I can see my feet. Because I know that Malin can see in the dark. And I will lean down. We've got an opening. There's a cave ahead. Oh, and you need to put your left hand there, your right foot there, and then pull up with both feet, okay?
Then do the hokey cokey.
Yep. Well, she's got
Desperately
the
trying not to say that.
Yeah, I know.
I very rarely resist such temptations.
Yeah, I figure she's actually got the climbing skill, therefore
Yeah,
she at least has some idea.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Any guards?
Not that I can see yet.
All right. Be there in a moment.
I'm going to put the lantern down so it's pointing at, the little beam is pointing at the opening. so I can
Okay.
see where I need to be treading.
Most lanterns, the shutters go up and down, so your little beam is still 360 degrees.
Oh, okay. But it's not as...
But it's a narrow
okay.
beam now.
I can cope with that.
Yeah. It looks
and
a little
then-
bit like a later ILM explosion now, because you've got that narrow beam of light going out, disc of light going out in all directions.
Yeah. So I'm going to sneak forwards as quietly as I can and have a look-see.
Okay. I am going to ask you to test... Is there a suitable skill, or would this just be skill? I think this is probably just going to be skill. Actually, no, underground law. Why not? We'll make it an underground law check. Because although you've got some light source, you are nevertheless now moving through a cave in semi-darkness.
Yeah.
So just a quick test to make sure you don't stub your foot or fall over.
Thanks. Yes.
No
That's good.
problem. So, you sneak ahead and can see that, yes, the cavern here, the tunnel, opens up into quite a large cavern. There are still signs of goblin passage here, so it looks like you haven't missed something. They do indeed come through here. But the cavern up ahead of you is not obviously occupied. Unfortunately, the light from your lantern only really illuminates the closest end of it. So there could be 15 goblins standing at the far end making obscene gestures at you, and you really wouldn't know.
Right, fair enough. Thank you for that image. Okay, I shall...
You also can't see as yet where there are any other exits.
Right, I'll head back then to grab my lantern and let Malin know that there doesn't appear to be anyone there. But we probably ought not to be too loud about this.
Sure.
And besides, you might be able to see further than me. Oh, wait, what am I going to say? You can see further than me.
I just incline my head and it's like, yes. Shall I take point then?
Yeah, you do that.
Okay. We're on relatively flatter ground now, aren't we?
Yes, the surface of this cavern that you're entering into it's still natural. It hasn't actually been flattened off as such, but it's relatively flat to begin with. And actually you can see traces of it having been worn down slightly over the years by the passage of feet. Far more so than the tunnel that you've just come through.
By whatever cascade of goblins comes tumbling out of here. Sure. So...
So that's the plural of goblins, is it? You've got the cascade,
of goblins. Yes, absolutely. That's the official term, yeah, according to Elven scholars.
Yeah, they're coming down here. It's a goblin fall. It's a, so yeah, I put my hand on my battle axe under the head, ready to heft up if necessary, and basically proceed ahead of Tamris, hoping that I might be able to see something more.
How far?
Well, hopefully be able to see nothing, but
yeah. How closely behind is Tamris following?
I'll give him about a couple of meters, because I know how far that battle axe will go when he swings it. And if he does kick off, I don't want to be standing in backswing range.
Fair enough. So, as the two of you move forward, you've got that weird blending at the edge of your vision, where you have full colour in the lantern light, and then as the light begins to dim and other parts of your eyes pick up different details, things begin to merge into just a greyness until eventually, far enough out, you can see the shapes of the rocks, but you can't see any detail at that point. It's just as you pick up movement ahead that Tamris, looking behind, sees that you have come far enough into the cave now that your lantern now barely illuminates the exit behind you, or the entrance that you've just come through.
Oh, good.
And just at that point, Marlon, you notice movement up ahead, and then there is the sound of multiple goblin voices yelling out as they come pouring from behind the rocks and rush towards you.
I just chuckle because we were expecting this, and like heft up the battle axe and clamp my other hand around it, and actually just kind of like plant myself in the middle of the passageway, just smiling as I.
Excellent.
Okay, so is there an initiative in this? There isn't really, is there? Because it's just it's an opposed roll every time, so there's no real need for initiative.
Hang on. Because God knows, when I ran it for you lot, I ran enough. The word initiative does not feature in the PDF. Did you know that? I ran so many combats for you lot, mostly against spiders. I wish I was kidding. God. Ye gods, they ended
I am
up
crossing fingers for no spiders here, please.
Yeah. Yes, you'd have hated it. Me, arachnophobic, had to hit people with rooms full of spiders. Thanks.
Oh.
Ended up with a burn. They just chucked a burning mattress in.
Yeah.
Slammed the door, left them to it.
Oh, there's an old Loading Ready Run sketch about demons trying to torture people with their fears, and this one young demon's basically trying to figure out the deepest, darkest intimacies of the psyche in order to figure out what the perfect fear is.
Yeah.
And the guy who's like top of the leaderboard for like things is like flaming clown spiders. What? At the end of the day, everyone is afraid of flaming clown spiders, even if they weren't before.
Brilliant. I wish I could draw.
Yeah.
I, honest to God, wish I could draw.
Right. Okay. There is no initiative. No, this is just opposed rolls. So.
Okay.
I know, Marlon, you're bracing yourself with your axe, ready to swing out at them as they come running towards you.
Oh yes.
What is Tamris doing? Staying behind, moving to the side?
Right. What Tamris is doing is closing her eyes, taking a couple of steps to her left, because unless you created a lefty, Malin has got the right-hand side covered. Yeah. And she's lifting the shade as she steps completely up and open. Yeah. So these things are going to be running straight now into bright lantern light. Yes. But she's got her eyes closed, so she won't get the instant flash.
Although Mullen is somewhat more sensitive to light because of his dark vision, it's behind him.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So it shouldn't affect him particularly.
Yes.
Right, that sounds remarkably plan-like.
Yes.
So this will last about 3 seconds.
It's not like we haven't done this before, as Marlon angles his blade head also to catch some of the light to reflect off in that perfect ting.
Yeah,
ding.
This strikes me as this is probably a tactic they've practiced.
Yes, this definitely feels like something that you've done before, doesn't it?
Mm.
So let's have some battle music.
Battle.
In fact, let's have some battle noises, since we've got them.
Oh, that's 2 goblins down?
Yep.
So, in the first round of combat, I am going to make a quick skill roll for these goblins, because they only have skill. That is the entirety of their stats. They don't have special skills. Give me the stats for a goblin, please. You must have given me stats for a goblin somewhere here.
You have stats for goblins.
I know I've got stats for goblins. I'm just hoping it's actually here in the scenario. Oh yeah, there they are. So, let's make a quick roll against the goblins' skill 5 and see how affected they are by the sudden light. Well, 8. last time I checked, is higher than 5.
These are goblins. I'm not sure they understand how to do basic mathematics.
Yeah. So I am going to give these goblins a penalty for at least the first round of combat because of the blinding light. Well done for that. I just want to double check how fighting multiple opponents work, because you will be needing to do that. Don't care what it says in here. As far as I'm concerned, there are 3 goblins coming in at the big man with the axe.
So, if I am outnumbered by 1, 2, or even 3 to 1, the attackers gain no benefit to their combat total.
Yep.
Just try to find out what it would normally be and see if there's any other rules I do need to take into account.
Not all fights will be between one hero and one enemy. There may well be multiple enemies facing a single hero. In these cases, the single combatant must choose which of his enemies he's attacking. All combatants roll as normal and calculate their combat total. If the lone fighter has a higher total,
and you're just hitting one of them.
Yeah. You have to beat the nominated enemy, basically.
I'm going to differentiate between any of these.
Yeah, since I don't have a battle map set up for this, let's just say that the nominated enemy is Goblin 1.
Yep.
That makes sense to me. And the other 2 goblins, it won't matter.
Yeah. You have to roll higher than all of them to avoid all damage, otherwise whichever one rolls higher than you does the damage.
But they don't
God
get
help
any
you if all
bonus
3
for
roll
there
higher
being
than you.
multiple of them. What page were those rules on, by the way?
Page 60.
Right, that's why I couldn't find them. I was going the wrong way. I thought they would be later on.
I remember spending a lot of time on this page, because this is the combat rules.
I really want to get a print copy of this book. I've only got first edition in print.
I was going to say, I think it's on POD.
A lot of their stuff is now on POD. It wouldn't surprise me if this is one of them.
Yeah. But yes, we also have the combat situation modifiers on the same page.
Yeah,
Knee deep in water, waist deep in water, up to your neck in water.
Yeah. Can you tell these people came from a wargaming background?
Yeah, just a bit. Narrow spiral steps up, narrow spiral steps down. Drunk. Okay.
I wonder if those the narrow spiral steps up and down actually get modified if your character is left or right-handed.
It should do, shouldn't it? Yeah. Yes, it's up is -3, down is -1.
Ouch.
Yeah.
That's quite significant.
That's a biggie, isn't it? I'd actually find it harder going down than up, but that's just me.
Ah, there it is. Outnumbering is in the list, is in the combat situation list.
Yes.
I guess going up, you've got less heft, and you'll be stabbing more rather than swinging.
Yeah. Thus, you're advancing up the stairs, which is more effort and more likely to lose your footing.
Yeah. Okay, so the normal rule would be that they get a bonus +1 to their attacks for each extra opponent. So normally they'd get +2. However, because of your combat reactions, they get no modifier at all.
Cool.
So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to put in a generic adjustment equal to their skill and roll for the first goblin. So the first goblin's attack was utterly shit before I even thought to factor in his penalty. Would you care to make an attack with your axe, Melon?
Sure.
And make a note of the damage result, because you're going to hit him.
Damage result was 6, so that's 4 points of damage.
Right, and that, looking at that, it hasn't added your battle axe skill after all. That is just a straight die roll. So
right, okay.
Okay, so I am going to...
yes, because it's not saying success or failure, so yeah, it would be against 9.
Yeah. If you're rolling against the skills, then it does, but on there, it's just rolling 2d6. So essentially, you've got to remember that you're adding +2. So you get 9 before I... Actually, no, you're not getting 9, because you're adding your skill as well. You're adding 9 to that roll of 7, which is 16.
Right. Okay.
Like,
Is that
before
plus
the penalty?
that?
Yeah.
Before the penalty for light, he got 8. Fortunately for the
Okay.
goblin, criticals only happen on a double 6, not on when you roll much, much better than him. So
Sure.
that was also a 6 for damage, so that's the maximum 4 damage, I believe.
That's 4 damage. Basically, the axe is swinging backwards and forwards at neck height for a goblin.
Ouch. That's nasty.
Obviously, varying up and down by an inch or so to allow for variation
Right,
in
yeah.
goblin height.
Yes, obviously. You wouldn't want to
So
go straight across the ears. That'd just be embarrassing.
Your axe indeed slices straight across his throat, just as you intend it to. At the very last second, the goblin catches a slightly brighter glint in the light that is confusing him, and he throws himself backwards, leaving himself with one of those really nasty cuts that if he lives, he's going to talk like the Kurgan for the rest of his life. But he's not quite dead yet. And then can you roll against goblin number 2?
Sure. So remembering to add 9. 6 plus 9 is 15.
Remembering to actually roll 2d6 and not 1d6. Does help. Okay, so he didn't hit you. And once more for the third goblin.
Okay. That was 3 damage to...
Well, you only damaged the one of them, so...
Oh, right,
This
okay.
is just purely to see whether they hit you.
They hit me. Okay, so that's
yeah,
7 plus 9, which is 16.
Yeah.
Even as you're taking a chunk out of the first goblin's throat, you angle the blade down and catch the sword of the second one, stopping it from hitting you. Then neatly bat the one coming in from the other side upwards with the half of the weapon and take a half a step back, grinning as you are completely unharmed by the first pass of the goblins coming into attack.
I'd roll my eyes, but they're not worth it.
I would show you contempt, but I can't be bothered.
Drat,
Love it. Yo.
you have witnessed these actions, and you can see that there are a further 2 goblins at least coming round either side. They're too far out to be able to actually attack Merlin at the moment, but they're either going to come at you, or if they choose to ignore you, come round and flank him.
Right. I am going to... How much space is there between me and these unattached goblins?
Well, currently they're just ahead of Merlin, who is a couple of meters ahead of you, but they're either side of you, so if you move into melee one of them, you're letting the other one through.
Right. Where's the nearest wall to me?
The nearest wall to you is a few meters to your right or left. You're roughly in the centre.
Right. Do you remember Conan?
I remember
The
Conan.
move Valeria pulls to get past guards and then killing them from behind, where she
Bit
hops
of
off
minor
the wall.
wall running.
Bit of minor wall running. I have acrobatics.
Okay, yeah, I'm going to ask for... Where, are you going left or right?
I'm going left because, as I said, I reckon
Because
Malon's
you're
got
still avoiding the
blind.
axe.
Yeah.
Okay,
But I don't want to have him hampered by having to avoid me.
that makes sense. So, I'm going to ask for an acrobatics roll for this.
Okay. Oh, blimey. Yes, that's a yes.
Okay, that is an absolute success. And having made... You were going to do it either way. I will tell you that now. However, because you made your acrobatics roll, you suffer no penalty on your attack roll as you then come
Excellent
down
stuff.
with your sword towards its back. So, you're rolling against the goblin. This goblin
Sword.
is not suffering a penalty from the bright light because he was in the row behind,
Okay.
and therefore...
Oh, that's a pants roll. Oh, it's not adding my sword skill, though, is it?
You've got to add your skill and your
Oh, right,
sword's
okay. I
special
feel slightly
skill
happier then. So that is 12, 13, 14.
Right. I'm going to point something out to you at this stage because it will be very useful to you.
Okay.
Down in the bottom left hand corner there is a modifier box. Anything in that box will be applied to the next roll you make. One of the things you can do with that is, let's see, what is your skill plus sword skill?
9.
Is that 9? So if you put 9 into that box and then drag it down to one of the slots along the bottom, that will give you a hotkey, F1 through 12. So from that point onwards, if you've got your 9 in 1, every time you press F1, it will put your sword skill modifier into the box ready to go. And you can then just roll the
So
dice.
it does.
Oh, those are function keys.
Those are function keys along the bottom there. They also work... You have lots and lots of quick slots in this. So they are function keys, or you can have shifted function keys, or control plus function key, or alt plus function key, and queue up loads and loads of hotkeys along the bottom. And then that will be automatically added. You can, in fact, in theory, set up quite complicated things down there. But we're not going to go into that right now.
No.
Just having your weapon skill modifier in there so that you can quickly tag it in is quite good enough. So your sword skill came out at 14?
Yeah.
Okay, against the goblin's 10?
Yep.
So that's going to be 3 damage, I believe, on a 2 damage roll.
I haven't got the table in front of me, but yeah.
If you look on the inventory tab of your character sheet, it will show you. And it is indeed, it's 3 damage on anything except a 1 or a 6.
You're right.
Basically.
Yeah.
The basic weapon is a sword.
True.
So, goblin number 4 takes 3 damage. And squeals in goblinish undelight as you carve your sword down along his back, missing the spine, but nevertheless not making him a happy person at all.
Mm-hmm.
I love this. Sirenscape is such fun to play with.
It is.
Right, so that is round 1.
Okay.
In round 2, goblin number 5 is in a position to flank Mullen. So you are now fighting 4 goblins. Which means that now they get a +1 bonus because they've topped over your combat reactions.
Yeah.
But one of them's nearly dead. So if you concentrate on the same one, he's almost certainly going down this round. Let's keep the suspense. Let's keep the bridge going. Let's keep the suspense going a little bit longer and deal with Tamris first, shall we?
Okay.
So this goblin is attempting to turn and thrust at you with a crudely made, slightly rusty short sword. Presumably,
we're not having
you're
that.
going to try and finish him with your blade.
Yeah, of course I would. Helps being on the right page, and then 15.
Okay.
Excuse me.
Yeah, I just slightly messed that up. Let me just do that again with the correct modifiers. I pressed the button several times because it didn't seem to be adding into the modifiers box, but I realise now what I'd accidentally clicked into the box. So it was adding them, but they were hidden behind the cursor waiting for me to type a value in. Right, so, okay, he actually got a 12.
Uh-huh. I still beat him.
Which means that, yes, you still beat him for, with that roll, another 3 damage. And as he's trying to turn, You run him through.
Okay.
He turns. He whirls around trying to get his blade towards you, and you just present your sword forward and allow his own movement to push himself onto it.
Yep.
He looks rather shocked as the sword goes straight through his gut and up into his chest. Then he shudders and falls to the floor. And meanwhile, 4 goblins are attacking Moen. Are you trying to finish off the first one?
Yeah, I mean, tactically it's the best sense. So.
It is indeed.
Yeah.
I mean,
So,
assuming that if he goes, they then lose their bonus.
It's not going to affect for this round because they were attacking sort of simultaneously, but certainly they will lose the bonus next round. Yes.
Sure. Okay, it works like that.
And next round, of course, I can come in and take one of them off your hands as well.
This is true.
Yeah. Okay, so we roll. Oops, wrong window. Duh. Where is your cursor, Anil? Right, there we go. So that's a 20.
20, yeah. Oh, whoa, so close to a critical.
Oh,
So close to a critical.
Yeah. Only a 2 on the damage, so that's only 3 damage, but I'm guessing they've got around 5.
They have indeed got around 5, yes. So, as he is still staggering backwards, not really trying to attack you this round, but clutching at his throat and trying to defend himself clumsily with the sword, your axe swings back in and pushes his own blade back through his clutching fingers to finish the job. His head bounces off backwards into the darkness.
I wince at that point. It's like, well...
I can't decide. Was that deliberate or was that just you being unnecessarily messy?
I shrug.
Messy.
Remembering
well, it's not me who has to clean
it's
it
got
up.
an extra +1. Oh, hang on. Also remembering, however, that he's actually got... Right, let's just put the modifier in manually. It's going to be quicker for the moment.
Yes.
Oh, I have to change that every time. Doe. Okay, sure.
No.
No, I didn't put it in correctly. I didn't remove the +5 that I'd already put in, so let's roll that again. Right, so the second goblin then, just to see whether he hits you. Which he doesn't.
Mm-hmm. Good wink.
And the third goblin. Ooh. Equal. And I need to look at... Well, actually, he's... If I remember rightly...
he got a double 6.
Don't get criticals. But I will check that. I'm fairly certain plebs don't get criticals.
Oh, what? They don't?
Yeah, as I recall, your major NPCs will get criticals, but
sure.
I don't think plebs.
Oh, so mooks don't.
Yeah, your miniony little plebs don't.
Yeah.
So is this a equals hit, or does it have to be greater than?
If they are equal, that means that, from your point of view, that's a win, because if he'd been your specified target, you wouldn't have done any damage to him. But he also doesn't do any damage to you.
Sure. So we just bounce.
Yeah. It's sparks flying.
He comes far closer than you like to admit, but he doesn't hit you.
It's in reaching forward to get the first one, I overbalanced slightly.
Yeah, you never want to be at full reach.
You've left yourself slightly open, but your instinctive combat reactions send you out of the way at the last second.
And I believe there's one more.
There is one more. And that one's not going to hit you unless you do really badly. Nope.
No, it wasn't a great roll, but yeah.
You are much better than them.
Yes.
They really needed the bonus for mobbing you, and they're not getting it. Bless them. Right, so I think I will ask for an awareness roll from both of you at this point.
Okay.
Sure. No, grab the dice.
Yep.
Success.
Okay. So, in addition to your awareness of the current situation, which is that there are currently 2 corpses and 3 live goblins, and the 3 live goblins are all picking on Marlon, you become aware that there is one more goblin in the darkness, currently standing stock still. Obviously he was rushing in to help and then saw a head bouncing towards him. And you become aware of him just as he begins to turn to leave.
Oh, we're not having that.
I just say Tamris.
Yep. On it.
Right,
Good,
so
good.
Tamris is going after the the fleeing goblin, is she?
Yep.
Okay. Is there an athletics skill in this game? And if so, I know you
I
don't
don't
have
know,
it,
but there is acrobatics.
Yeah, this isn't really acrobatics though. This
I've got
is
jumping, if that helps.
just trying to. You're not really jumping. You're trying to reach him before he can leave. I'm just going
Bold
to make this
assumption.
a straight skill versus skill opposed roll.
Okay.
So you need to beat yours by more than he beats his, which is not going to be difficult.
Right.
That was an impressive roll. This goblin
Yikes.
really doesn't want to die.
Oh, God. Damn.
Okay,
He's won.
so you made it by 2.
Yeah.
He made it by 2.
Oh.
So, what this means is that you reach him just as he reaches a cave entrance, a tunnel entrance at the far side of the cavern. I'm going to give you a -2 penalty on your attack this round
Right.
because you're trying to stab him quickly before he leaves rather than fighting him under normal circumstances, so you're reaching somewhat.
Yeah.
Fortunately for you, he was not running back to a friend.
Yeah, I think this is basically going to be taking a swing and hoping to catch him on the extension of the arc.
Yeah, essentially.
Right. So it's actually only +7. Oh, I dropped my dice. That's always interesting. That's 20.
You've got a +9 and a +7 in that,
Yeah,
so
I
we'll
don't
take
know
the
quite what
9 off.
that's. Let's not do that again, shall we?
Yeah.
So that is in fact only 11.
You can stack multiple modifiers into the box.
Yeah,
so what it
I
did is
hadn't
instead of
realised I
replacing
had.
the +9, it added put a +7 in as well. I did that a couple of times earlier on. So
Yeah.
This is how I know that's
So
what
I
you
got 11.
did. So you got an 11. He got a 9.
Diddums. And that's
Yeah.
after the penalty.
But you also, absolutely, this is as it should be. You also rolled a 1 for damage.
Yeah, I also rolled
So
minimum
he
damage.
only actually takes 2 damage.
Yeah.
Meaning that he does indeed, leaving behind some of his vital fluids, make it into the tunnel ahead of you.
Mm-hmm.
Meanwhile, back in the main fight, let's roll for some goblins versus Malin.
Sure. At this point, I'm like, as we're combat maneuvering around, I'm kind of like turning so that my back is like, I would be facing the way that we came in, basically.
Yeah. Right. So, unless you specify otherwise, I'm just going to go through the goblins in numerical order in terms of
Sure.
which one you're trying to hit, because they're all identical anyway.
Yep. One
Okay.
vermin is exactly the same as another.
Yes, this game is not doing subtlety when it comes to its minions.
So the one I actually injure, minimum damage,
Ouch.
3.
What does affect mooks, unlike critical rolls, is fumbles. So let me just roll to see what this goblin has fumbled with. 7 on the fumble table. Okay, he slips and is off balance. He's at -2, got a -2 penalty next round. But that probably explains why you got minimum damage, because he was actually lower and further backwards than he was meant to be.
Yeah, so I've only barely scalped him rather than.
Yeah. Of course, with your axe, minimum damage is exactly the same as most of the other damages, and it's still 3 points.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But morally, we know it was minimum damage.
Yes.
Right.
Goblin 2.
Goblin 2, where would you take me on a first date?
And Goblin 3. I don't think is beating a 15.
Goblin 2 almost hit you. Goblin 2,
Yeah.
again, would have critted if he was allowed to.
Malin did.
Yeah, but it doesn't
no.
matter. 'Cause
It was
he's
on
not
a
out in this
defensive
one.
roll, so yeah.
Yeah, true.
And Goblin 3, bloody hell! That's 3 crits in 1 round. In fact, 3 crits and a fumble in 1 round, technically.
Dice working in your favour?
Yeah.
Still
it's
didn't
not
manage
real
to
dice.
hit you, because that's still only a 12. And although I can't find it in the rulebook, I am sticking with my claim that mooks can't crit stuff. Okay. So, Strut, important question at this point.
Yo.
Are you going to continue chasing into the darkness? Because I'm assuming that you're not carrying your lantern.
No, I'd have had to put the lantern
Because you did, without the wall running, you'd have still been carrying the lantern. But I don't see you wall running with a lantern in one hand.
down. No, that's a very different proposition.
So are you going to
that's a
continue
very
chasing this
dangerous
goblin into the
proposition.
darkness? Or are you going to go back and help Melon?
I'm going to rely on Malin to be capable of looking after himself, and I don't want this guy bringing any friends in. So I am going to take the risk and rely on my awareness.
Right. I am going to count this round then.
And indeed my underground knowledge.
I'm going to count this round as being night darkness,
Okay.
which is not complete dark. It's, I can see a bit of darkness. And then I'm going to take the next round, if you have to continue after him any further, as being complete darkness.
Really hope I don't have to.
And I'm also going to go with an opposed skill check again, which you're obviously going to make. But if you fail it, you'll get a penalty. If you beat him, then no penalty.
What's my
to your
penalty?
attack.
Fish, what's my penalty?
This is a straight skill check, no penalty.
Oh right, okay, sorry.
If you fail to beat him on this opposed skill check, you will suffer a penalty to hit him because he's
gotcha.
still trying to get away from you.
Yikes! I just failed.
Okay, so yeah, he is trying to get away from you. He also failed, but he didn't fail by as much as you. He only failed
This
by
rat
1.
knows this particular drain pipe.
And he can see in the dark, unlike you.
Good.
So you are going to have a -2 to hit again for the
Okay.
fact that he's still scrabbling away from you.
Be in the right window drop. There we go. Right. Really?
You didn't include your 9 on that, so that's should be 12.
Yeah, that should be 12.
You've only got the -2, not the 9.
Sorry, I just thought, how is it physically possible?
However,
for me to roll
12
that
against
badly?
14, you lunge forward into the darkness as to try and stop him getting away from you, but this time he's ready for you. And he pins himself hastily up against one wall of the cave.
Yeah.
And as your sword lunges past him, slashes down, delivering 2 points of damage to your arm.
Right. Well, if nothing else, he's stopped running. He's lost all that lovely momentum he had.
Yeah.
Well, so I'm on 12 stamina. I'm not too fussed because I've got decent stamina.
I mean, you can always make a luck roll on this, but
No, I'm
Yeah,
saving
yeah.
my luck.
you've got loads of luck.
I've got loads of luck. I'm saving it for when I really need it. I.e., when, I don't know, a griffin attempts to eat my face.
Okay.
I don't know why I'm making that assumption.
Right. Meanwhile,
Back at the proper
at the
fight
fight.
with the competent person.
Malin, let's see whether you can finish off this second one of your goblins.
Sure.
You can't have your pudding until you've eaten all your goblins.
Oh, that's a myth.
Turn up for the books, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yes. That's 2
Yeah.
points of damage from a goblin ducking under your axe and slashing up at you with his wicked short sword.
How many points of damage?
2.
2. Okay. Sure. Yeah, that's me getting a little bit. Marlon's got a little bit careless there.
Yeah,
Yeah,
so
you got a bit
cocky
blasé
yeah.
there.
I reset myself as I swing back through the rest of them.
What it
so
was you just did the same move 3 times and this goblin went 1, 2, 3.
Yeah.
He's identified the pattern clearly. You need to change it. Yeah.
Yeah.
Second goblin.
So the next one does
14.
not manage to capitalise on the opportunity that your pain granted him.
And third one is a 15.
And I forgot
Yeah.
to add the modifier in that. So the third one is a 16. He does.
Ooh.
Ooh.
So that's another 2 points of damage.
Oh,
Okay.
dear.
Goblins are finding their feet, or more importantly, they're finding your weak points.
Yeah.
However, before you take that extra 2 points of damage, and
All
indeed,
right.
technically, before you took the first 2 points of damage, let's remember that you are wearing armor.
Ah, right. Yes.
So roll a d6 twice. If you get a 5 or a 6 on either one of them, that will negate a point of damage.
Okay. So first one. Huh?
Okay. Apparently
Why
it's
did
not.
that?
Hang on, let me double check how armor works. I may have misremembered it because I think it. I get it. I remember. It's an armor skill check, I think, isn't it? And if you make the skill check, then it's pretty much the same as attacking. But let me double check.
Oh, so I should be adding my.
Let's
Hang on.
see. Armor.
British game, at least they spell armour right.
Yeah.
Heroes will wear the best armour they can afford.
Right. So it is a 1d6 roll for armor, which is what I expected it to be. I just don't know. I wonder if this is just down to an oddity of the
All set.
rule set rather than the rules. If I can't find anything quickly, which I can't, I'm just going to ignore everything except the red die on that.
Okay.
So
So it's not a skill check per se. It's just.
I don't think it should be. For the moment, I'm going to assume it's not.
Okay. Cool.
I
will
think it's just.
do-
Yeah, I think it's just the way the rule set is implemented. It is it's not really distinguishing between
Okay.
armor and weapons.
The second one is a 6. So
So okay, so
I'll t-
the first
take
one doesn't
thr-
do you any good, but the second one, against
Yeah.
the second attack, your armor absorbs 1 point of damage. So you've only
So I will-
taken 3 this round and not
Sure.
4.
because otherwise I would, if it was a skill check, then I would constantly be getting 7+. So
Yeah.
I can't not negate 2 points of damage off everything.
Yeah.
Mm.
And that doesn't quite make sense. I'm not wearing plate armor.
I can see you wearing plate.
I'm fairly
just-
certain that we're doing this right, but I will double check after the fact.
That's
I'm
okay,
fairly
I've got
certain it is
rubber
just a
coatings, so I
skill
can.
roll.
Marlon probably has worn plate armor in the past.
And then the buggers made him give it back.
So, yeah, that was that round of combat. Let's jump back out to the tunnel.
Uh-huh.
And this time, he's not running away.
Right.
The fool, having lightly scratched you, has this mad idea that he might actually be able to take you, and is instead going to lunge at you with his sword.
Oh yeah,
Okay.
we've both lulled them into false sense of security. It's
The
Absolutely.
navigation
Yep.
units will accept
So,
your
oh,
spoken
thank you for the
commands.
host, Teledear.
Please state speed
And hello,
cross.
by the way. Since I'm interrupting what I'm saying to say that, I will say hello at the same time.
Right, what's
so
my
we're
penalty?
still counting this as nighttime darkness here, which I
Okay.
should have done last round as well, but he beat you anyway, so it doesn't matter. So that is in fact a -3 for the fact that you
Okay.
cannot clearly see.
So I'm rolling at +6 instead of my normal +9.
Yep, and the goblin, of course, has no such penalty, for he lives down here. And he's
Oh,
got
for
you again.
God's sake.
That's another 2 points of damage
Oh, I'm annoyed about this
as
now.
he takes a nick out of your thighs, thrusting forward with this rusty short sword. The immediate damage isn't so high, but you never know, the tetanus might take you out.
I was just going to say, I'm going to have to check whether my jabs are up to date. Not happy about that.
You are prescribed a course of leeches.
Oh,
Yes,
good.
indeed. Yes, just
Yeah.
allow one to dissolve slowly under the tongue.
I hope you do better in your fight than mine. On the other hand, as I said, he's not
Right.
yet alerted anyone.
Speaking of your fight,
Indeed.
Goblin number 1 back over there. And that's more like it. That's what we
Yeah.
expect to see.
There we go. Deep incision.
Clearly annoyed at being cut a couple of times.
Yeah.
A moment before.
I've reset my stance and now
Yep. You
powering
correct
through.
the error in your defense, and splat goes another goblin.
Spat goes the weasel.
He wheels backwards as you take off his weapon arm, which flies past, almost hitting his companion.
proper arterial surgery.
Hey!
Indeed.
Is he dead, or is he actually, or is he just?
He is dead.
Shot.
Yes, you've taken his arm off, and well, he will be dead in a
Yeah.
couple of seconds from the
Yeah.
shock.
Sure. Goblin 2 defending. Another 15.
Yes, you are correct. I forgot utterly to put the link up. I do apologise. That is indeed from my channel, but it's for my purchases on behalf of this channel, which is why it's also showing here. On my channel, there should be in the information on my channel a link if anybody wishes to donate. Turns out I've spent about $170 on AD&D 2nd edition stuff for Fantasy Grounds for when we get back to Swords of Slaughter. I've already spent that money, that's gone, there's nothing I can do about that. But I would be really grateful for any of it back from anyone who wants to watch us play AD&D 2nd edition when we get back to it. Right, let me see. That distracted me now. Where did we get back to? We got back to other
So I rolled
goblins trying
a
to hurt
15 against Goblin 2.
Okay, Goblin 2 also got a 15. So
And Goblin
no
3.
damage there. And Goblin 3 had no chance of hitting you at all with that roll. Okay. Back in the tunnel.
Okay. I don't think my eyes are actually helping me at all here. I am just wondering if I can parlay my awareness into blind fighting.
Since you've thought of it, I'm going to allow it on the using your keen senses to get a clearer idea of what's going on. I won't let it negate the penalty, certainly, and I'm not even going to let it reduce it as much as dark seeing would. The -3 drops to -1 for dark seeing. On a successful awareness check, I'm going to let you drop it to -2. No penalty for failing the awareness check, so there's no reason not to do it under these circumstances.
Yep, I did it.
Yep, so you're only at -2 instead of -3 this round.
Okay, I can deal with that. So I'm getting 7.
And you've got a pretty good chance because you didn't roll great this round.
Yeah, but you've seen the way I've been rolling the last couple of goes.
Well, there is that.
On the other
Then
hand,
again, critical with max damage.
Wow.
this is drop with a strop on now.
Roll me 2d6. Let's see what critical result you get. Not that it matters because he's dead as dead anyway. But
I'm trying to remember how to roll 2 dice now. My brain's just gone. There
right.
we go. Yeah, it's alright. Got it.
Okay. For those who don't know, the way that works in this game is you pick up the die that you want to roll with the left click. Then while you're holding it, simply right click to add another die, and you can keep clicking as often as you want to add more dice, and then finally throw them into the
You can also simply hover over the die and right click and put in the number that you want to do, which is quite handy. So I only rolled 5.
The other thing that's on that right click menu, which I'm now showing on stream, is this custom dice menu. That's only on the D6. There's something different, if anything at all, there on the others. But that one will let me. Yes, it will. It will let me roll a D3 if I want to. Oh, hello. Is that? Ah, interesting. So the other custom die on the D6 is what it calls a D combat in here, which is the red die that's highlighted for damage. So theoretically, I'm going to test this now just to see if it will work. Oh, can I? No, because I can't get the custom dice then. It would that's not much use unless you want to build a macro with it. But potentially, I should be able to drop 2 d6s, and oops, didn't mean to do that. Meant to do that, and a D combat into macro 3. And yep, that will make me a combat roll now, because I've just created one on the F3 macro that rolls 2d6 plus a damage die. Now these guys are doing 2 damage no matter what, so I haven't been rolling damage dice anyway. Oh,
I'm just trying to work out why I was working on.
Thank you very much indeed. We have money towards AD&D 2nd edition.
I don't have your stream up. Damn.
Very cool indeed. And I don't, because unfortunately that's the goal from my stream. It doesn't get an alert on this stream, which is slightly annoying. I need to remember to actually run the alerts from my stream at the same time, just in case, if I'm doing this. And I didn't think to.
Yeah.
But thank you very much indeed. And yeah, we will be getting back to AD&D 2nd edition and further adventures in and around Waterdeep after I have run Star Trek, which I should have been doing tonight, as we know, and things got in the way. But it is coming, and I have to say that the Fantasy Grounds adaptation of 2nd edition is excellent. And the reason I've spent so much money is because I've got not just the rule set is technically free, but I have bought the Player's Handbook, the Dungeon Master's Guide, and the Monstrous Manual, so I've got the complete text of all of those books in Fantasy Grounds, along with monster tokens for every single monster from the Monstrous Manual, all just created from the artwork in the book. I've also got the ones that they've released so far of the complete books, so Complete Fighter, Complete Wizard, Complete Thief, etc., etc. Whichever ones they've done yet, I've got all of them.
Yeah.
And loads of them, I know that. And most recently, I picked up Faiths and Avatars, which is a Forgotten Realms book that includes a whole bunch of speciality priests for the Forgotten Realms setting. So all the rules for those
that I
kits,
will be playing,
including the one that Brenna will be playing. So yeah, loads of really good stuff there, and I do intend to pick up Temple of Elemental Evil, because while I'm not obviously going to run it for the guys in Waterdeep, it is something that I want to be running at some point. It would be lovely to go back and do it again. So that's going to happen somewhere at some point.
Fish, remind me, how do you change the colour of your dice?
All your dice?
Yes.
If you want to change the colour of all your dice, it should be, strangely, in the top right-hand corner, strangely, it's the arrow pointer icon. Lets you change colours.
Ah, there we go. Brilliant,
It's
thank you.
A strange icon for something that's going to change dice colours.
Yeah, I
but
kind of
that's
assumed
what
that
it
was
is.
going to be combat.
Yeah, I think it's actually supposed to be a paintbrush.
I suspect it's a recycled icon, is what it probably is.
Yeah.
Because, as I said, this is a fan-made rule set, so while it has its little niggling problems that I am unfairly whinging about here and there, all hail to the man who did it, because it means that I've got Advanced Fighting Fantasy 2nd Edition to play with in Fantasy Grounds, which is great, because while it's relatively simple to put together, it's much easier to have had somebody else already do it.
Well done, that person.
Yep.
And this is actually, the Fantasy Grounds community is great for this. This is the way things work. The 2nd edition rule set that I was using when I ran Swords of Sorcery first time, which was an unofficial one, became what is now the official D&D Classic 2nd edition rule set. The guy who created that is the guy who then modified it into the official version and incorporated the core rulebooks once the license was available. So it is the same man, and I was quite happy to throw money at buying them to give him his cut of that. Okay, catch you later, Neo.
Later, Nia.
Right, so let's get back to the fight, because I keep getting distracted by cool things.
Yep. Meanwhile, back at the fight.
From it.
So I'm on -1. I criticaled. What did my critical actually do?
Oh
Just out of
yes,
curiosity.
that's what we were doing. We were looking up what your critical did. What
Yes.
was your 2d6 critical roll?
Hang on, scrolling
It
back
was
up.
the
5
five.
only.
Actually,
Yeah.
the 2d6 critical roll is some. I know there is a 2d6 table for criticals, but it's not in the basic rule. It must be an optional one somewhere else.
Oh, okay.
So I will simply ignore that. In that case, you do get double damage, and were he still alive, which he's not, he would have his skill reduced by 1 through the damage through the.
I just did
that
8
you
points
have
of damage to him.
So you have just delivered 8 points of damage to a goblin who only had 3 stamina left.
Figured it. She's a Jedi. Your eyes may deceive you.
Is that what it is?
Yes. She
And
listens for the swish.
So,
You've pinned this goblin to the wall as a warning for.
Yeah. Warning to the curious.
I was thinking possibly that what happened there is after he hit you last time, you flinched back from the pain, and then in sheer annoyance and frustration, just swept the sword round and
Yes.
cut straight through him. And now you're going to have to sharpen this sword because you hit the cave wall behind him after going through him.
Yeah, my false edge is now completely knackered. I'm going to have to just cut with the front edge all the time. Oh, the horror.
Nothing that an evening with whetstone won't solve.
Yep.
Okay.
Whetstone and chill.
Back in the cave, there are still 2 goblins fighting Malin.
Ooh, quite well.
Leave this. Okay, well, by pulling out every last little sword trick that his aged Jedi instructor ever taught him, this goblin has evaded death for another few seconds. And against the second one to see whether he hits you. Bloody hell, the goblins are rolling well today. Not well enough, but actually, no, yeah. Well, No, not quite well enough. 16 against 16. So yeah.
Yeah.
Evens on both rolls.
Yeah.
Right. Druat.
Yo.
I assume Tamris is coming back.
Tamris is coming back at a rate of knots.
Okay.
Because I'm headed back towards the light now.
Right, so I'm going to make an awareness check effectively for the goblins.
Okay.
Which is going to be a simple skill check because they don't have skills.
Yeah, I'm
So the first
running.
goblin doesn't notice you coming. The second goblin doesn't notice you coming. This gives you a choice.
Okay.
If you choose to attract their attention on the way in, one of them will turn to fight you, and it'll be 2 one-on-one fights.
Right.
If you choose not to, then it will be 2 two-on-one fights. Because it will be you and Malin against one goblin, and then both goblins against Malin.
I feel
So
that
they won't get a bonus because of his combat reactions, but you and Malin would both get +1 against the goblin that you are attacking if you do it.
I don't think that Tamris is the sort of person to offer a fair fight to. And, you know, their back's there,
Okay.
and I'm running with the sharp pointy thing.
So he
Someone's
is looking
gonna get hurt.
towards you. You are looking towards him. You've known each other long enough that non-verbal communication can easily indicate which goblin you're going to gang up on.
I'll go for the one on his left.
And
So my
one of
right
these
is left.
suckers is going to be in for a bad day. So I assume that you are both going to attack the same goblin rather than you relying on Tamris to just take the pressure off you and you attacking the other one. Because it seems sensible to finish one off between you.
Exactly, because after having seen the first goblin and realizing that I probably need 2 blows from my axe to take one down, then
So you will each get a +1 on this. From the fact
So
that
I
you're
got a
ganging up on
14.
this goblin.
that's and I get a 16.
Okay. And the goblin against Tamris got an 11, so she's definitely hit it. And against Malin, a 10. So yeah, you have both hit the goblin, and you've both done maximum damage on the goblin.
Yes. Squad.
So
This is
that again is 8
from
points
one
of
side,
damage to a goblin.
this goblin was scissored, basically.
Yeah,
I
pretty much so.
Yes. I can't decide if he was cut into 4 equal pieces or I stabbed him from behind, which held him still while you knocked him in 2.
You skewered him in place while Melon lopped his head off.
Oh,
It's entirely
ingenuity.
possible. Well, one way or another, this guy has gone down under a storm of blades this
Yes.
round.
Like that.
And this was very much a nod to Tamris as I turn my axe back to
And
to
a
look at
quick
the other
roll-
goblin pointedly.
Quick roll to see if the other goblin manages to hit you while you're eviscerating his friend.
Oh, that's unlikely.
And no. So, yeah, his attack was pretty much on target and looking quite good until blood from his companion spurted all over him and it kind of put him off.
I was going to throw you off your stroke. So,
again, presuming you're both going to turn to finish this guy
Yeah.
off, you've
Yeah.
again got
We on
+1
+1
because
now.
you're outnumbering him.
oh, picked up my couch, Sheena. Oh, excuse me?
So that's an
Thank
18.
That's a 16.
Okay,
doing
so
3
15
points.
against Malin, so that hits. So that, yeah, he hits. And against Tamris, he gets 14. So you have both hit, and that is enough again to finish this last goblin without too much trouble.
Yep.
And you are standing amidst the ruins of a number of goblins.
Well, that was a little bit of exercise. I kind of like I plonk my axe down and kind of like lean on the top of the the half. Maybe a little bit more exertion than we wanted for an opening salvo. I'm presuming you got yours.
Yes, he's very, very dead. He's very dead. I'm gonna dive into my pack for the equivalent of an energy bar.
So yeah, scoffing a quick sandwich to get back a couple of points of
2 stamina, yeah.
Stamina, yeah.
It won't put me up on maximum, but it'll put me higher than 10.
So is it each ration gets you 2?
Yeah. You can eat as many meals as you like during the day, but you only get your stamina back for the first 2 meals.
I'll hold off.
That.
I'm not too badly at the moment.
I don't wear armor, so I have no protection. Yeah. It's meat, not metal for me.
I am going to take a quick bio break at this point.
That seems very reasonable.
Cool. I like this game. It's very, very simple and silly.
It is a very simple and fun game.
Yeah.
Just kind of dive into it and start rolling dice. And there's a limit to how long combat can last, even in quite a big fight like that where you were fighting 6 goblins.
Yeah.
Because rather than it, as I said earlier, rather than it being the D&D, low-level D&D standard of I miss you, then you miss me, then I miss you, then you miss me.
Someone's getting
Unless
hit.
you roll exactly the same results, someone's getting damaged every round.
Yeah. Yeah.
So it works very nicely like that.
Somebody's gonna die. Maybe 3 Pepsi Maxes was not necessarily my greatest idea.
So I would like to apologise again for us not playing Star Trek this evening. Basically, my issues, not the least of which is chronic depression. And also in this instance, very much not the least of which is attention deficit disorder, prevented me from getting the prep work done. So that is still an ongoing process, and hopefully it will be done for the next me slot, at which point we will then be playing Star Trek as advertised. But for now, this is a good filler. And hello there, Totobi. Welcome aboard. We are playing Advanced Fighting Fantasy 2nd Edition, which is available from Arian Games. I hadn't realised, I must admit, where Arian got their name from. It is actually a location in Alancia. Oh, and thank you for the follow.
Yay!
Always welcome. So, although the first thing that I knew Arian as publishing was to republish Maelstrom, which I also own in its original print form from 1986, I think.
Oh wow! I haven't heard that. I haven't heard that name in ages.
Game. Yeah, the first full role-playing game that I bought, I went from, because it was on the shelf next to the Fighting Fantasy game books, basically. And it was, saying that, you can play not just with the book, but with your friends and lead them in great adventures. So I picked that up and sort of never looked back. Only ever ran it once, very, very badly. And then a short time later, I was able to get hold of the Red Box Basic D&D of the era. From a friend of mine swapped it from someone, and then I swapped it from him. That's what you do when you're that age.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure I had Maelstrom as well. I think for that exact same reason, that it was right next to the Fighting Fantasy book.
It was a good move.
Didn't have the kind of friends who would play that.
Yeah, but that one, Arian, who take their name from a location in Alancia in the Fighting Fantasy world, they republished that a little while back and have done quite a lot of good work with it. They've done, I'm not sure whether it's a standalone game or an expansion which changes it to the post-Norman Conquest era rather than the original Tudor setting. And I believe they have since then also done a Roman version using the same rule sets.
Okay.
And then they got Advanced Fighting Fantasy, which also now has a science fiction version of this. There is, I can't remember what it's actually called off the top of my head, but it's these rules adapted for space, which I also own in PDF because I got it due to a Bundle of Holding deal. Same way I got Advanced Fighting Fantasy because I had the first edition but not the second edition. Recognize the weird guy. That sounds about right. Yeah. Okay, so
Yeah, it has to be you, Fish.
Let's
That's not weird, and I'm
get-
not a guy.
I'm also the only one
have,
in the top left corner, technically.
Yeah.
I think you've played enough games with me to know that that's not necessarily true.
Okay, superficially not weird.
Okay, I'll take that.
Yeah.
I'm weird enough that I forgot to
Camouflage the
turn my
weirdness.
light on before we started playing, and I'm now desperately trying to read this rulebook by monitor lights.
Fish, put
I'm going to
the
have to
light
get up
on.
and turn the light on. I shall be back
Yeah.
in just a moment.
Oh, memo. Buy for Fishy's Christmas present a bulb that will fit his fitting and talk to Google Assistant.
And how quickly that happened gives an indication of how small my flat is. It's not just that I have long arms.
No, I thought you just held the cat out and used that to bat the switch.
No, he's sitting over there glaring at me because I didn't feed him when I stood up. It's most unfair of me.
Yes.
Right. Okay. No, we're not on the fight. We've had the fight.
Yep. The fight.
Right.
I'm going to,
So-
after I've downed my ration pod, I'm going to root around and loot the bodies. Because that's what
Okay.
you do.
Yeah, each of them has got, as I said, a rather crude short sword. It's a small sword or a large knife, depending on how you want to look at it. It's not the best weapon in the world.
No.
No, I will take one and just shove it through my belt because I haven't got a short blade like that.
Yeah,
fair
ditto,
enough.
actually.
In terms of actual damage, although I was ignoring damage rolls in that fight just to speed things up, this is essentially going to be a dagger for damage purposes.
Okay.
So it'll do a 1 damage on a 1 or a 2, and 2 damage on anything else, but it can't do
Okay.
higher than that. None of them had anything else of any real interest, although between them you can manage to scrape together a total of 17 silver coins.
Nice.
No gold on them, but they do have 17 silver between them.
Okay. I will take 8 on the grounds that Malin did the hard bit.
Okay, thank you.
And I just did the pounding myself into the
You only hurled
Darkness.
yourself into darkness without any
Yeah.
knowledge of what was going to be there. Yes, nothing special at all.
That's why I've got 8. So it's not that I'm being overly nice. I'm just being reasonable.
So, as you know, at the back of the cavern, there is a further corridor.
Yeah.
This one is less steep. It doesn't go up as sharply as the one you climbed to get here.
Was it the only exit out of the cavern?
It is the only exit out of the cavern. Yes. I'm having Death by Cliche flashbacks at this moment, and if anybody doesn't know Death by Cliche, I can recommend looking it up. It is a podcast audiobook by Robert Defendi, who is a game designer. He wrote the Privateers edition of Space Master and some other bits and pieces for various games, and he wrote and read a very entertaining book, which at the beginning has a dungeon with no side corridors. So it's literally just each room leads into the next one.
Yep. Hello, starting dungeon.
Yeah. So yeah, this corridor stretches a short distance away and then turns sharply to the right. You don't know
Okay.
what's beyond there because you haven't yet gone down it, but that's what
No.
you've seen by lantern light now.
Okay, I am dropping to one knee at the corner and looking around the corner. So if anything entertaining happens at head height, my head won't be there.
Okay. The only thing at head height, as you peer around the corner, is about the third step of a flight of stairs leading up.
We got stairs instead of a slope, so that's got to be a thing.
They look like they've been carved out of the natural rock. But they have at
Yeah.
least been carved. Definite indications of structure here.
You see, if I was going to put a trap in, I would trap one of those stairs, because if you're going up and down them like these goblins are doing on the regular, then they're going to know which ones not to tread on. So I'm going to be really careful, and I'm going to be looking for any traps on those stairs.
Do we
Right.
really suspect them to have sufficient intelligence to continually remember?
I don't think they did the building. I suspect this is a thing of convenience put in by the boss, in which case he might have had the nous to think about it.
I defer to your expertise as always, Tamris.
As I said, practice paranoia isn't a thing, but
I love
you
the
know,
idea of
You
I love the
haven't
idea
steered
of
us-
Throg periodically sending somebody down to clear away the dead goblins from this trap.
yeah. That's how you breed better goblins.
Oh, is that how you do it?
Yes.
Oh, the
Survival
goblin,
of the less thick.
the Goblin Quest version of.
Yes.
Sure.
Yes.
You haven't steered us wrong yet, Tamris. So.
Days young.
Eh.
I'd worry if these were the goblins' versions of goblins from the comic, because
they'd be
then
a
we'd
lot
just be
tougher to beat.
toast. Yeah.
Okay. I think I'm going to ask you for an awareness check with... Is it a +2 that your trap finding gives you?
I believe it is a +2.
So with a
then.
+2 modifier, but rolled in the dice tower so that only I can see.
Oh, I hate you so much.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah. +2 bonus to trap knowledge rolls, which is what this is.
Okay, so yeah, just bung a +2 modifier and then roll awareness.
Yeah.
Because I'm not going to use trap knowledge to spot a thing. I'm going to use awareness to spot a thing, and trap knowledge more.
Okay,
for
I shall drop my
identifying and
dice
getting
down
rid
the
of it.
black hole.
Okay. So your initial examination of the first few steps, which is all you can see from here, leaves you pretty confident that there's no traps on them.
Okay. Well, it looks safe. I'll go careful. How wide are the stairs?
These stairs are about 1.5 meters wide.
Okay, I am going to go up one side. I'm not going in the middle.
Okay.
I'm going up the right-hand wall. Actually, no, I'm not going up the left-hand wall, so my right hand's free.
Right.
So if need be, I can do the stabby.
Okay, the stairs run up for quite a distance. Relatively steep, not hugely steep, not as stairs are concerned, but without the stairs here, you'd certainly be having a lot of trouble climbing up if this was just a natural rock face.
Okay.
And after about 3 or 4 meters, they open up into what is now clearly a crafted corridor. It's still carved from the rock, but now it's carved rather than just a natural corridor. Whether there was something here that's been cleaned up afterwards, or whether they've just dug down and met the natural tunnel by luck, you have no idea. But this has been hacked out by somebody with tools.
This is getting more and more worked as we get higher and higher. And that is an in-character comment back to Malin.
We're probably hitting the tower proper now.
Right. Okay. So this is where paid minions might be lurking. Ones with better weapons. Right. Is any of this illuminated, or am I still only on my lantern?
Still just on your lantern here.
Okay. Right. So if we do meet anything, it's going to be able to see in the dark.
Probably.
Memo: flash bombs. Right.
With due warning.
Yeah. Yes. Okay, I'm going to lead the way up and along the corridor, paying attention to anything suspicious.
Again, can I have an awareness roll in the dice tower?
Yeah, with my trap knowledge, yeah?
I'm going to not tell you whether it applies or not from here on in. Instead, when it does, I know to add an extra 2 points on top of what you
Okey-doke.
rolled, or on top of your value.
Yeah, there you go.
Okay. You set out carefully and cautiously along the corridor and almost immediately come to a halt.
Mm-hmm.
Up ahead of you is a loose stone. Had the corridor been better worked, you might never have noticed it. But as it is, this is so poorly worked that even though your first instinct might be to say, all of these stones are wonky and uneven, this one actually has been worked slightly more carefully than those around it in order to try and make it not look suspicious. And as a result, that has attracted your attention.
This is the tombola principle, isn't it? Always pick up the tickets that are really tightly folded, because they're the ones they put in first.
Yeah.
They're the winners. Right, okay, I'm going to indicate to Malin, stay put. There's something sus here, I need to have a look.
Sure.
Okay, I am going to go down half crouch and get a proper look at this stone and see what I can see.
Okay.
So I've got this dagger, you see. If nothing else, I can use that for prodding purposes.
Make me a trap lore or trap knowledge or whatever it's called.
Trap knowledge.
Including your +2 for being a trap master.
I'm assuming that since I have trap master, my trap knowledge will be applied, but if it doesn't, then I won't.
I don't think.
Because I should be on 11.
Not sure.
I believe. But we shall see. We'll see what it comes out as showing. Wow. Critical failure.
Oh.
I think I've just triggered it.
Yeah, so that doesn't matter either way. Yeah, you bend down to examine it, and intrigued to know what mechanism is beneath the stone.
Yeah.
You pull out the goblin dagger short sword that you have just been using.
Yeah.
That you've just acquired. And you try and lever up one corner of the stone just so you can see what's underneath it.
Yeah.
As it lifts, there is a clicking noise.
Yeah, told you, didn't I?
And you immediately make me a dodge roll.
Right.
Do you have the dodge skill?
I actually don't have dodge, so it's
just
a skill.
Straight skill in this case.
Fortunately, if it does hit me, I take less damage than most people. Because of Trapmaster.
Because of Trapmaster.
Okay. Does luck... Can luck be used to give me a skill bonus? Or is luck used to avoid damage if I get
I'm not going to
taunt?
say luck can be used to give you a skill bonus, but if you want, I will let you roll luck instead of skill at this point.
Yes. Yes, I think I will.
Okay, roll your
Have
luck.
you noticed that the character sheets, if you drop your dice rather than rolling them, are apparently made of quicksand? Because the dice just melt into the sheet.
It's not the sheet, it's anywhere on the desk except
Yeah.
the chat box.
Glad I did that. I mean, I would have made it bang on, but as it is...
But as it is...
I made it by
okay,
more.
Yeah. there's a click. You look up to see what the click is. And as you do so, the angle at which your body tilts backwards to look, you bring your hands back with you as you do so, and a heavy iron portcullis slams down directly in front of you, narrowly missing you, and snapping the goblin blade in half where it sits.
Well, that's just rude.
You have evaded being hit on the head by it. However, you're on the wrong side of the portcullis now.
We're on the outside of the portcullis.
You are indeed on the outside of the portcullis.
Yeah, let me just amend my dagger.
So we're both on the same side, or are we split by the
Yes,
portcullis?
you are both on the same side.
Sure, okay.
But it is indeed on the side that you've come from, not the side that you want to adventure into.
Yeah. Okay. Right.
Is there a reset mechanism?
Yeah, let's have a look for a reset mechanism on this side. Because otherwise we're going to be on the Ben Bars lift gates.
I start flexing.
Yeah. I said, Malon's off warming up.
Yeah, he is burly for an elf.
Fair enough.
Okay, so make me a trap knowledge roll. Again, you get your +2. Don't this time roll a double 6.
Don't. Seriously, dude. Yeah, that's better.
Oh, that's disappointing. I was kind of almost hoping for a double 6 because I had the.
So no, it wasn't adding my trap master.
No.
Before.
You just need to remember to add the.
Yeah, I've got
modifier.
one of my F keys set up with it. So yes, I did make that quite handily.
Okay. So your examination proves that there isn't, in fact, a reset mechanism. This needs to be manually reset. All there is a release catch, essentially.
Okay.
Which you have accidentally triggered.
Right. There's no lock keeping this down.
There's no lock keeping it down. No, only the weight of the portcullis. You suspect that there may well be, chains or ropes or something to haul the portcullis back up with, but they'd be on the far side somewhere.
No, we're going to have to do this by brawn, but at least it's less likely to bring the roof down on us.
Sure. Is there any stone or such that we would be can use to wedge under it if we get it up?
Not here, but if you want to head back down the stairs, there are some down there where you're into the more natural part.
Would the broken half of my blade work to support it? Basically wedge it into the channel?
Probably, yes. It snapped when the portcullis came down, but that came down with some force. Just holding its weight, it would probably work.
Yeah.
It wouldn't give you a very big gap at the bottom. But it's
it would
better
give
than
something.
nothing.
Sure. Well, let's. I set my axe down, flex a bit, and then grab the base of the portcullis and strain and push.
Yeah,
Presumably, this is a strength
skill. Yes.
Yes.
Yay. Look at me putting a point in that.
Yeah. No, I didn't.
That still makes you stronger than Tambus.
Yes.
So, strength.
To be fair, I think the goblins were stronger than Tambus.
Okay.
Ooh,
That's a fail.
Not a good roll.
Okay.
At least you didn't humble it. Didn't
No.
get a critical.
Can
fail.
I help? Can I get in?
Right, yeah. I will allow a second roll on the basis of assistance.
Sure.
And
Okay.
I think
Just
what
a
I'm going
skill
to
check,
do is I'm going to require a skill check from you, Drat.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know whether there is an official system for doing this, but I'm basically going to steal the one from D&D 3. So on a successful skill check, you'll grant a +2.
Okay.
Cool.
I damn near critted it.
Okay, so redo strength with a plus
So
2. Yeah.
redo strength with a +2. Yeah.
That's more like it.
Yeah, there we go.
And this time, with just with the edge you needed to break the inertia. Up it goes. You're not going to be able to hold it for very long, but in the meantime, Tambus is shoving a dagger underneath.
Yeah.
Sure.
I will. Basically, where the channel of the portcullis is going to be running in the walls, basically, or against the walls.
So
I'm going to get the blade.
Jam it as high up as you.
As far up as I can. Yeah.
Okay. I'm actually going to call this another trap knowledge roll, but without
that works for me.
Without the +2, because this isn't technically a trap. I'm just using it for its engineering principles.
Okay. No, that's cool.
I'm going to allow it to be an applicable skill. Oh, really?
Really? Are you sure trap knowledge doesn't work? Hang on, let me just check what Trap Master actually does. All trap knowledge rolls.
No.
Innate understanding of mechanical traps.
This is not technically a trap knowledge roll. I'm simply allowing you to apply your bonuses from trap knowledge to what would otherwise be a different roll. It's an engineering roll.
I will fight for those 2 points that would have made it a success. You cannot blame me for trying.
Okay, so you as it fails to hold, you, Tambus, have a choice. You are in a position to duck underneath it, or to stay on this side.
I'm going to roll underneath.
Okay. So at this point, you've wedged the dagger in.
Mm-hmm.
Malin has released the pressure to test whether it will work.
Mm-hmm.
The dagger immediately pops back out. You roll through to the far side.
Right. I am going to... I'm not attempting to lift the gate. I am attempting to simply hold the gate. To give Malin the opportunity to get through.
Yeah, so as the dagger snapped and it looked like it was crying, I attempted to catch it again, basically. Because I didn't step back too far, just in case it did.
No, you literally just let it go and it didn't hold.
Yeah.
So grabbing it again is not too difficult. It will require another strength check, but because you're braced for it and ready, I'm going to give it a +2, even without Tambus's help.
Yeah.
And if Tambus can make her skill check, you can get an extra +2 from that.
Okay.
Yeah, okay, that's a success to get you again, just about.
Oh, yeah.
Okay,
I burned through all my good rolls earlier.
You're still holding it, but you're still on the wrong side of it.
Yeah. Yes. So I am going to attempt to just take the weight and support it.
Okay. I duck flat, grab my axe, and roll under.
Okay.
Yeah.
Tambus, skill check to hold it long enough.
Okay.
Just.
That's pretty much just anyway. Yeah. She couldn't lift it.
It edges down slowly a couple of times, and then after Malin has rolled through, clangs back to the ground.
Yeah.
Getting back out this way is not going to be easy, especially if you're dragging a princess behind you.
You know what, bollocks to it. I don't think a princess is going to like the spelunking bit anyway. We're going to have to use the front door.
Hopefully by that time we will have ascertained the layout of this place better.
Works for me.
Right. So, continuing down the corridor.
Well, we do know nobody's going to be coming up behind us.
True.
I just wonder if that was loud enough to alert anyone directly ahead of us.
Oh, that'll limit the number of people we'd have to find later.
I don't want to have to slaughter my way through this entire tower.
You're slipping.
I will, if I have to. I just don't want to.
Point taken. I suppose we're not really getting paid enough for that.
No.
Okay. Right. In that case, I will proceed ahead. At least I spotted the trap.
I wonder if we should have negotiated by per combatant.
Yeah. I was just wondering about collecting ears, but never mind.
The prince, I'm sure, wouldn't take kindly for us delaying like that.
Lesson learned.
Next time.
Yeah. When dealing with knobs, always go higher. So.
Corridor runs along for a little bit further before turning sharply left and then left again, so that it doubles back on itself. And where it doubles back, it's another flight of stairs heading up. So you're essentially zigzagging at this point up the inside of the crag.
Okay. Well, I know that they've had... Sorry.
Wizards have, what you call them? Crystal balls or such that they look in on things? Don't suppose you think he's looking down here, is he?
If he is, he's probably sniggering. Right. Well, there's not a lot we can do if he is. So, just keep our wits about us.
Okay. Make me a concealed awareness check as you head up the stairs. I'm assuming you're continuing to...
I am, yeah.
Stuff as you
Whoa, okay. If you're not careful with your placement of your dice, then you can pick up your character sheet.
Yes.
And attempt to roll that.
Yeah, something else about the Fantasy Grounds virtual tabletop. To move anything around on your screen, you just click on it and drag it. It doesn't have it's not like Windows where you have to click a particular place. If you want to scroll around within a map, for example, that's then done on the middle mouse button. So that's how you can look around a map while it's zoomed in. Zooms in and out on the mouse wheel, as you would expect.
Oh, that's neat. Okay.
So, you reach the top of the stairs without discovering any traps or triggering any traps. And find another corridor very like the previous one. However, halfway along this one are two doors, one on either side. They appear to be heavy wooden doors. And each of them has a small window, essentially, in it, with bars.
And some cells. It's just a matter of whether the princess is in one of those cells or whether she's been given special treatment.
Do we hear singing from any of the cells?
You do not hear singing from any of them.
Nobody knows.
Thank you.
Yes. Yes, Spaceballs rocks. Okay. Ding, ding. Ding, 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 ding. Oh, great. That's now how the goblins attack.
Big.
The goblins are the dinks.
Oh, jeez.
Now that's in your head. Okay, I'm going to have a look. Yeah, I'm going to have a look through the window on the left first.
Okay, you peer into the darkness of the room behind. Unfortunately, the window isn't really big enough for you to get the lantern up without it being in front of your face, at which point it's kind of blinding you to what's behind it.
Yeah, it's that kind of there, but there, and...
You do, however, hear a faint shuffling inside in response to the light pouring in through the little window.
Okay.
Can you get a good view?
Not really. There's someone in there. Or
Let me
something.
have a look. Duck back.
Okay. I'll hold the light slightly behind. Oh no, of course, I'll keep the light away from him. I'll close the shutter.
Yeah.
So as not to mess with his vision.
Okay, I will take a look in at the left.
Okay, looking in, this is clearly a cell. And you can just about see, up against one wall, a dejected-looking pile of rags that, from the way it moves, must actually be an individual of some kind. It's definitely not a princess.
Cool. I just wander over to the other one.
Much the same. Again, no princess, but there is one individual in this cell.
Okay.
Again, looking very ragged and unhappy.
Yeah. You know, they might be able to give us some info on the layout of the place.
Sure. Left or right?
Let's go for the left one first.
Okay.
I'm guessing locks, Fishy.
Did you? Yeah, I was going to say, did you take the appropriate skills for opening locks?
I really hope my thief had lock picking.
I just stay your hand a
Looks like the
moment.
one.
Yeah.
I like lean close to the window and go, "Hey, hello."
Hello.
What's your name?
Who are you? You're not a goblin.
At least you can see that.
If you was a goblin, you couldn't look through that window. They're not tall enough.
I sigh.
Can't argue the logic, to be honest.
Are you here to rescue us?
What are you in for?
I don't know. Them goblins just snatched us from the forest and dragged us in here, and then every now and then they pull me out, and he does strange things to me with potions and wands and all sorts of things.
What about the guy in the other cell? Same?
I think so. I haven't actually seen him.
Okay. I turn back to Tamrith. Test subjects, it looks like.
All right.
Uh,
I think letting them out would be ideal then, and if they're being used as test subjects, then they'll definitely know where they're being taken to be tested on, which logically is where the wizard is.
that doesn't necessarily mean where the princess is, but I don't think we've got much choice at this point.
Yeah. It's either somewhere we need to go or somewhere we really need to avoid. Either way, I'd quite like to know where it is.
Sure. I step back.
Right. Okay. I'm going to get to work on the lock.
Right. You don't have lockpicks in your equipment list, do you?
I don't, because I don't know if they're actually a thing in the game. Are they?
Yeah. The locks skill does say that you will need such things.
Ah, sorry,
But
that's
I
actually me
don't-
misreading.
I don't know that the equipment list includes them.
I would have thought we could assume that.
How
So-
much?
Really?
That's what I was wondering. If they're in the equipment list,
They are.
Oh.
and they're expensive, then you can't have them. But if they're
They're
not in the equipment list,
45 gold.
45
Wow.
gold.
At
Okay,
best.
lockpicks are
That's
expensive.
how does any thief manage to pick locks
45
ever?
gold, yeah. Okay, so in that case, I'm going to assume that you are picking this lock using unsuitable equipment,
Yeah.
and therefore will suffer a penalty to your locks skill.
Figures.
But I'll let you do it with a
That's
dagger or something.
ridiculous. And that's assuming a big city.
I pass
Yeah.
you the dagger, but
Okay, right.
That's
We're going to
45
be looking
gold
at
indeed.
using the corner. And I'm probably, rather than picking the lock, I'm probably looking at manoeuvring the bolt physically back on itself. Oh, this will be fun. Right. Okay.
Okay, so yeah, I'm going to give you a -3 for not having proper lockpicks because
Jesus.
I'm mean like that.
Yeah, okay. Oh, that went wrong. No. Sorry, Fantasy Grounds has just had a moment.
Yeah.
presumably the hinges are on this side.
Yes, I suppose
yeah.
they probably are.
Are you done? Because, that would be nice. Thank you.
I'm a bit worried about the fact that lockpicks cost more than potions of skill, stamina, luck, or magic. No, actually, potion of skill is more expensive. The other three aren't.
It's not my imagination, is it? That's nuts.
That is a slightly insane cost
Yeah.
for lockpicks, yeah.
Right, okay. On the other hand, if you're going to do a thing.
Yeah.
No, unfortunately not.
Well,
It's 45, 60 or
yes.
90, Robinson.
Yeah, no, it's definitely that expensive.
Yeah.
I may
Next
have
time I'm getting
to.
paid in lockpicks. It's precision engineering,
Yeah,
I think, is
yes,
what they're going for.
quite possibly, and the fact that they're illegal. So,
Well, yeah. But locksmiths would have them.
let's assume that the price given for lockpicks here is to legally purchase a set of lockpicks, which are massively expensive in order to prevent people from running around with lockpicks.
Yeah.
Let us also assume that if you are given the opportunity to buy some lockpicks from a nefarious member of the local underworld at some point, that they will not be quite so expensive.
I can't imagine that they cost 45 gold in black sand.
No, I don't think anything costs 45 gold in black sand.
No,
Black sand itself?
Yeah, maybe.
that's what it's worth. Right, anyway, I rolled a 3 in total, so,
Okay, so
if
yes.
you're going to do it.
With a click, the door unlocks and you can pull it open.
Mm-hmm. Cautiously.
Eager-looking individual inside is not actually chained to the wall, although there are some chains hanging from, they're affixed to the wall, but he hasn't been manacled.
They only turned the right way up last week.
Yep, he's wearing rags of the remains of what was once standard peasant garb, and looks, apart from being malnourished, with some odd rashes on his skin and some burning, healing burns
nice.
in some places, to be a relatively normal person.
Alright. What's your name, mate?
I'm Bert.
Alright, Bert. Where did you get experimented on?
They took us up the stairs.
Okay. How many flights of stairs?
5, 6, maybe.
Mm-hmm. Do you know how many guards roughly are around?
A lot of goblins.
A lot of goblins.
Anything other than goblins?
Well, I heard something big and nasty. Didn't see it though. I think we passed it 2, 3 flights of stairs up from here. There was something big in one of the rooms.
Right. Is it dark? Is it dark all the way up?
Well, not normally. No, there's normally lights.
Right.
He sort of waves a vague hand along the corridor, and looking, following his gesture, you can see there are torch brackets here, although currently there are no torches in them. There weren't any downstairs.
Right.
Let's get the other one out and then,
Yeah.
unlock the other one and then we head off.
You haven't got a pair of lockpicks around you, have you?
I gesture to my axe.
Fair play. Right. Let's do that again then. -3. Jesus wept. That's a lot. Memo, put more points into locks and buy some picks. Oh, wow.
On the other hand, just roll that.
Yeah.
Twice in a row.
Clone skill roll.
I will take that every day. Ding, ding, ding. Yeah, you're not even supposed to be using this. I can barely even get it into the lock, and yet, chink.
Right, yeah, again. It clicks open. It's identical to the one on the other side. You already know how to do it. So, you just
exactly.
Bingo, done. You know how this one works.
Bingo bongo boogie bongy.
Inside is a very similar looking individual, although this one has a blood-stained bandage wrapped around one of his legs.
No. Hello, mate.
Hello.
You up for an escape?
but it's not a very quick one.
Right. Okay, you've got a choice here. We're going to head up into the mountain proper because the wizard's done the theft and he's stolen somebody. Now, there's probably going to be fighting. Sorry?
Somebody else.
Yeah, somebody else.
Besides
Yeah,
us.
he's stolen the princess.
Oh, so somebody that counts, you mean?
Well, as far as the prince who wants her back, yeah. But if you didn't count, we wouldn't have let you out. So, your choice is you can either follow us up and wait until we've cleared a path and make a break for it out through the main entrance. But we can't guarantee we're going to clear everybody out because, you know, we're not exactly here to slaughter, maim and kill everybody in the entire fortress.
That's a shame.
Or, if you reckon between the two of you, you can manage it. There's a portcullis down the corridor. That's closed. If you can lift it and get out there, then that takes you down through the caves and out through the woods.
I don't reckon I'm up to no portcullises. What about you? No, I don't reckon I'm up to no portcullises neither.
Should we take it down, get it open for them?
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay, we're gonna head back then and escort the wounded out.
Okie dokie. The one with the bandaged leg is limping quite heavily.
Yeah.
But you can get
You'll
them
have to
back
take
down
it
there.
carefully.
Yes.
Mind the blood on the way through the caverns, but
Yeah. Yeah.
you're
Don't trip
probably
over. Don't trip over the dismembered goblins.
you're probably better off.
Mm.
Okay, shall I give
Thank
a
you very
strength check
much.
then?
Yes.
Yeah, let's go with. Are we going for the
I'll
double
help
effort
again.
here? So
Yeah.
skill check from you to provide a +2 for the strength check.
Oh, I
or
hose.
you
No,
could
I didn't
do
get it.
that. No, you
Okay.
do no good whatsoever. I'm going to be nice and not make them have you make
No,
it
I think I just
harder,
broke a nail. However.
Okay, success from me.
Okay, so you can haul the thing up and hold it long enough for them to scramble underneath.
Yeah. I'm also, however, going to pass over my torch once they're through
Ooh.
and light it off my lantern through the grate. They stick it through the grate, I light it, they take it back because it's dark down there and they're not having my lantern.
Yeah. Okay, so with effusive thanks and lots of tugging of forelock, they head off down the stairs past the portcullis and away from you, leaving you to
Okay.
go back up the other way.
Yeah.
We head back up. What, 60% chance of them making it out?
That much with the light, yeah. But yeah, it's better than wandering up through the rest of the fortress because, you know,
We
if
don't
nothing
need
else.
we don't need
to
tag-alongs.
Well, yeah, and the guy was limping, you know, if he starts bleeding again, if there's something up there with any kind of sense of smell. Actually, to be fair, if there's anything up there with any kind of sense of smell anyway, they've been in there a while.
There's only so many good deeds that we can do without getting paid for it.
Yeah. And this counts. Fishy, keeping an eye on the time, by the way.
I am keeping an eye on the time indeed, yeah. I
Okay.
was just thinking that in a grand fit of irony, they make it all the way back down through the cave and out, only to then perish in the forest fire they accidentally start with the torch.
They live in the woods. I figure that they know how to handle wood and fire.
Okay,
And I'll take
so
the torch off my inventory.
unsurprisingly, perhaps, the
Uh-huh.
corridor stretches on for a little bit further before you turning to another flight of stairs.
Okay. Right. Again, I will just be checking for traps on the way up.
Okay.
Avec
At the
le
next
caution.
corridor, you find a trap.
Ooh,
No
That's
roll is
worrying.
necessary, because you definitely find the trap. It
been
is
triggered?
already actually active. I think I should have, hopefully, a sound effect I can use here. What's that one? That's apparently not making a noise, whatever that one is. What about that? Actually, that's not bad. Because up ahead of you...
When you say not bad...
Partway along this next corridor, there are two large stone hands attached to the walls. Each of them is holding a polished metal scimitar, giant size.
Right.
And the hands are attached to the corridor in such a way that they are moving and swinging the swords back and forth in arcs, each covering just over half the corridor.
I've watched Nightmare. I know how this works.
So it's the pendulum swing.
It is definitely, there's essentially a sword doing a pendulum swing on either side of the corridor, so there's no way to get between them easily.
Right.
Possibly, if you timed it right, you might be able to just slip between them or dive over one of them. Or indeed under one of them if you were very careful.
Are the blades at 90 degrees to the corridor, or are they varying in angle? Are they only moving in one plane, or are they moving in both? Are they only moving in vertical arcs?
They're not moving vertically, they're moving horizontally, but they are angled so that they're effectively scooping back and forth.
Okay.
So it is very like a pendulum.
Okay.
Is there a gap between the two of them? Can you stand? Is there a space between the two arms that you can stand?
Not a permanent one.
Oh, good.
They somewhat overlap, so you would have to get the timing right and move through completely in one go.
Sure, okay.
Right. Studying the mechanism as I see it, does it look like there is any opportunity to knacker one of the hands, impinging it in its movement?
The actual mechanism appears to be mounted inside the wall, where you can't really see it.
Right.
Theoretically, it might be possible to gum that mechanism up. It's quite tightly fitted, much better construction than anything you've seen yet here.
Yeah.
But really, it's not something you'd be able to do without getting in close enough to be risking being whacked by a sword blade.
Okay, if there's a reset, I reckon it'll be on the far side of this. Oh God, deja vu.
I imagine so. Also,
serious deja vu, actually.
I'm guessing the wizard has their own way of turning this on and off.
Yeah. Okay, I'm going to give this side of the corridor a search just to make sure that there is no concealed trip.
Okay, there is not.
Okay, I didn't think there would be. So yes, I'm going to study the patterns of the trap. Ave Imperatore. With a view to making it through.
Okay.
I think my safest bet is actually to see if I can work out a point at which they line up so I can dive over in one go.
Yeah, I was going to say, because with your skill set, your best option is to try and dive over, because you have jump and acrobatics and you don't have dodge.
No.
Mine is very much dodge.
Yeah, but I reckon if there is a reset, I should be able to find it on the far side.
Sure.
If there's a reset down here.
You want to go first, or?
Yeah.
I'm not going to make you roll against both. I will let you use basically the worst of jump or acrobatics.
They're the same.
You'd be jumping for the height, acrobatics for the the dive over.
Yeah, they are the same.
And you will get a +2 on this.
Oh right, okay.
Because this is in the with the goal of defeating a trap. So as far as I'm concerned, while I denied it you earlier, I will give it you here.
Fair enough.
However,
it didn't critically
that's
fail.
not a good roll. Would you perhaps want to consider using your luck on this one?
I think on the whole, yes. Just barely.
You remain lucky.
Yeah.
And
Yikes.
while you mess up your dive, and the sword blade catches you,
right,
it just catches your foot and kind of flips you. You land badly, but miraculously are unharmed.
And on the far side.
And on the far side.
I let out the breath that I was holding.
I'm going to do the swift. I've just fallen off a motorbike. The personal inventory of, is everything still attached? Does it work? Can I feel it? Starting at the head and working down.
Take a needle and thread to your trouser leg or whatever on that foot now, or that leg now, because it's been torn, but somehow the skin underneath wasn't.
Right, I'm going to put some severe effort into locating if there is a reset over here.
Okay, make me a trap knowledge, I suppose.
Okay.
With your +2.
Okay, Trap Master was being factored in. No, wasn't being factored in, was it?
It wasn't being factored in, no.
Yeah. Oh, thank God for that. I can still make halfway decent skill checks. I was starting to wonder there.
Okay.
Apparently I only fail when it's going to hurt.
Searching around, you find a loose stone panel in the wall, which, when you push on one side, it pivots round, and behind there is a lever.
Right, well, it's unlikely to make the situation worse, so I'm going to pull it.
Okay, you pull the lever, and the hands stop moving. They haven't retracted or anything. They're still rather awkwardly there in the way, but they're no longer moving.
I'm holding on to the lever. I'm not simply pulling and releasing. I will keep it pulled. Not that I don't trust you.
Thank you. And I maneuver my way through.
Okay, yeah, you can squeeze through. It's a bit hairy, but they don't start moving, and you are indeed through safely.
Right.
Once again, this corridor leads to a switchback and another flight of stairs heading up.
Okay.
The next corridor breaks the pattern.
Oh, just to mess with us.
Rather than some feature on the corridor and then another switchback, this corridor delivers nothing to you. You move along it carefully, looking for traps or doors or anything suspicious. Nothing happens, but at the far end, instead of a switchback, it simply turns right. And you find yourself looking down another corridor with a large, double-width, heavy wooden door on the left-hand side.
Now, see, the only reason to put a door that big in the corridor like this is because there's something big that needs to come through it.
Does the corridor continue on past these doors?
Past those doors, you're getting past the edge of the lantern light, but you, with your dark vision, can just dimly see what you think is the foot of a flight of stairs.
Okay.
Well, they said there was something nasty.
We're not quite at that level,
No.
I don't believe. Could this be the main doors in? Are we at crag level?
Is there a keyhole?
If you move up and examine the doors, you can see that there is no
Do I need to have
keyhole.
with caution subtitling my every action?
What there is, however,
Uh-huh.
is a heavy padlock on the door.
Oh,
So not the main entrance.
no. I'm going to listen.
Okay. Well, listening, you get roughly what I just triggered on the soundboard.
Yeah. I didn't hear
That's a
anything.
good one. Is that not coming through loudly enough?
I heard something.
That was an owl bear a very long way away.
You can hear the sound of something large, shuffling perhaps a little and breathing.
Yeah. You know what? I don't think we want to bother it. I don't know what it is, but it's snuffly and it's gruff.
That padlock will hold, won't it?
Padlock
yeah.
does look pretty solid.
That padlock looks pretty damn solid. Whatever it is in there, they're really keen on it not coming out if they don't want it to.
Good. I don't want it coming up behind us.
Yeah, ideally.
Right, onwards. There's a flight of stairs there.
Yep.
I
Okay.
must admit, I'm intrigued by the utter lack in this Griffin lair of any description of a way that it gets out other than into this corridor, because there's no way they're going to take it through this corridor when he wants to ride it.
Well, how do you walk the Griffin?
Yeah. I think had you gone into there, I think I would have had to ad-lib a door on the other side leading to the outside.
Not wishing to be offensive, Fish, but we know there's a Griffin here. There's something big and growly. You know what? No.
You might have been temporarily confused and thought this was D&D and that you needed the XPs.
Yeah. It's open the door, get on the floor, everybody watch the Griffin soar.
Yes, I like that one.
Ouch.
Right, so yes, the end of this corridor is indeed not a switchback, but simply a flight of stairs.
Stairs. How's the quality of the work in these last couple of corridors?
Better. This corridor here.
Because the trap was a bit more ornate.
Yeah, the trap was better quality than the hands were better quality than the rest of the corridor, really, and the bit of wall immediately either side of the hands. It looked like maybe that section had been rebuilt to fit them, and the rest of the corridor was perhaps older and less good work. You're now into more that kind of quality. This is a solid, well-fitted corridor by this point.
Oh, good.
And the stairs
Good.
likewise.
So we still want to ideally not make too much noise.
Looking up the stairs, before you set foot on them, you can see what you suspect is firelight above. There is a flickering light coming from past the top of the staircase.
Oh, good. There's something or somebody up there. Yeah, put two of us against a Griffin. Even assuming these guys are the equivalent of third to fifth. Nope. And Witcher flashbacks. Yeah, we could just throw Robinson at it.
I do remember back in the day running, it was actually Warhammer Fantasy Battle 1st or 2nd edition, but running it as a role-playing game instead of a war game. And the players developing a tactic of picking up the halfling and throwing him at any door to see if it was trapped.
Oh! Yeah, yes. We remember Thunder Tree, Robinson. I'm bored. I shall go running through the middle of town.
Yeah.
You watched Harry Potter, you know how to tame it. Oh, God.
Oh, God, was Lucian Bertie?
Possibly.
Oh, no. Oh, God.
Oh, dear.
Oh, no. Actually, it's sort of Slaughter Deep nothing. I'm more worried about Zen.
Yeah, Zen in Lost Mines of Phandelver was a menace to society.
Yeah, 5 go mad in Phandelver.
Oh, jeez, that was, wasn't it? Yeah.
It was, yeah. Oh, no, Zen was Zen was a GM's nightmare. Zen was, how am I going to keep the party alive? Great fun, but oh my god.
I didn't manage to. I mean, technically, I didn't finish. The group I was in didn't manage to finish it, but we had a comedian who was playing a bard in that game, which he created himself. And oh my lord.
No.
Very funny, but very disruptive.
Yeah. I just love that when they hit the right, we've got this quest, we're going to go and retrieve the village that we were in, we used to live here, and there's dragons taking it, and by the time they just nearly got creamed by killer twiglets.
That was my
They just went, there's dragon.
My whole character motivation was the retrieval of Thunder Tree. I was playing the not ranger from the starter box, except that I'd converted him to a full ranger by this point. And yeah, we just took one look at it, and I said, "Forget the ancestral home, not important. Let's go."
Yeah, we've nearly died to spiders and twigs.
We are low level and pathetic. We're not going to take that on.
No, they literally went round the corner, looked up at where the dragon's lair was, and went, "You know what? No," and did the 100 meters back pedal.
Yep. Okay, so yeah, the flickering light at the top of the stairs, guys.
Yeah.
Wow.
Right. Okay, I am going to half close my lantern. Because I'll need it to look for traps.
Mm-hmm.
But I don't want to advertise my presence too much. And keep it focused on the stairs. Because I should be able to abandon it when I get up there, because the firelight will give me enough to see by.
Okay. So
I'm not
again,
abandon it, but
can I have an awareness check
you
into
can.
the dice
I
tower?
didn't wait for dice that aren't there.
I'll give you the +2 because you're specifically looking for traps.
Merci beaucoup. There we go.
Okay. You get up the stairs without locating any traps, either the good way or the bad way. But at the top, as your head crests the top of the staircase and you peer up, you see another corridor, unsurprisingly.
Mm-hmm. No corridors in this place.
And the light, the corridor immediately turns right. So effectively it's as if they've put the switch back in the wrong place.
Okay.
Rather than the corridor turning round and going immediately to a flight of stairs up, it went up along for a little while, then up a flight of stairs, and has now turned back. And,
right.
and the flickering firelight and the sound of fire is coming from around that corner.
Okay. Right. I shall beckon Valen up behind me and then crawl up to the corner.
I do my best to basically hug the wall.
Yeah. I'm doing my best. Keep low profile. Yeah.
You're now
I've been
peering
playing
around the
Sniper
corner then, are you?
Yes.
Yes.
Carefully.
Peering around the corner, you see another one of these now much better quality corridors.
Yeah.
Rather surprisingly, in the middle of said corridor is a large, maybe 1.5 meters across, ball of flame, which, as you peer around the corridor, begins to roll towards you.
Oh, that's not good. I'm going to duck back. Does the fire get any brighter?
And I think that as you duck back around the corridor, that is probably a good place to leave it for today.
Oh, fantastic.
Apologise that we couldn't get through the whole scenario, but I think there's enough left still to warrant a second session when we can fit one in. Hope you have enjoyed playing.
Cool.
I have enjoyed running it. I do.
Yeah, this was definitely a blaster. It's nice that's relatively simple mechanics-wise, that isn't either completely mechanicsless or akin to D&D.
There's enough. There is enough to give it enough chew that you feel like it's worth your while being here.
Yeah.
if that makes
it's
sense.
nice and easy for the GM to just sort of ad lib ways of using the skills and the luck stat to get through anything that you need to be able to do, rather than just going, well, there isn't
And
really
especially
a rule
because
for that.
you're-
You
because-
can just say, okay, roll skill.
Yeah, and because your skill level is usually going to be at this level, and the way the variance works, you've got a pretty good chance of not being squishy
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Very not squishy.
and actually just feeling that you can't do anything.
Yeah. Yes. I mean, I've had some heart in mouth moments this evening.
We've had some on the edge dice rolls.
Yes. Yes. Criticals hate me.
So,
but yes, no,
thank you
that's
for
been fun.
playing, and thank everybody watching for watching, whether here with us live this evening or watching this on VOD at a later date. I will, of course, be highlighting this off, and I think probably not sending it to YouTube for the moment. Wait until we can get the second session in and send them both to YouTube.
Okay.
But
Makes
I'll
sense.
definitely get it highlighted so we've still got it to send.